What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That in the lovely jacket is your girl, Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're waiting for everyone on squeezle on over, knock on over, I don't know, skip, do whatever you need to do. Just get on over from the other stream. We already have a couple of OGs in the chat, starting with the OG himself, Mr. Two Pamps, Darwin in the chat, Nimit as well in there, Pillsbury, Easy Trader, and Hey Davis joining us as well. What's up, Salim Khan? Always voicing his opinion in the chat. Always see you. Shout out to Salim. Benson, Day Trader Cut, Big Bob Dub, Scott H, small cap trader extraordinaire. Keep your eye out for Scott's calls on the small caps. Always printing up a storm. Fabiro, there it is. Blue Arrow, Glenn Smith, Fiddlebeck, Juan Alejandro Castillo. We got the broadest wolf. There is no broader wolf than him.
Is it Broad Street Wolf or Broadest Wolf?
It says Broadest Wolf in there. I'm just going with what's that. Yeah. There you go.
I like it.
Penguin Dynasty joining us as well. TX Trader, Anthony. We got Hold My Beer, Cerveza. And David Clark, Smooth 1J, and Shane O'Mac. No, you don't, Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. You know about that one, Katina Man. He knows all about it. Katina Man knows everything about that. He's all about that life. Good morning, Adair. How are you?
Good morning. How are you on this fine Monday? It's a Monday.
It is Monday. Yes, it is. It is. It was good. Very active weekend. Boxing, tennis, beach. Yourself?
Yeah, my weekend was good. My family was in town. We went to a family reunion in a rural part of Ontario. There were horses. There were like 7 horses. It was nice to see the horses. But yeah, right now it was nice to take some trades. I took 15 pennies on Tesla. I'm super proud of this trade. I started this strategy I was going to say yesterday when I was not doing that strategy yesterday. Last week I decided, I was like, you know what, Adara, if you're going to trade Tesla, don't take it based on chart, take it based on the book. Obviously the chart's going to guide some of your decisions, which it did here, but you only want to be getting involved based on what you're seeing in the book. I now have a Tesla book at all times. Here it is. Here, this is him. Hello. Hello, Tesla book. Wave hi to the camera. So it's just right there on the monitor above me, so I can always keep an eye on it and be aware of what it's doing. I was watching here as we broke below this 231. I said, if we break below 231, I want all the smoke. I'm going to risk it to see what we do at 231.20s. I got involved. We drop right away. We dropped to 231.85s, and I'm like, Adara, you're at VWAP. What are you doing? Get out here. I watched it waffle a couple times. Get out, take 15 pennies. It comes right back up. Really happy with what I did here. Now we're bouncing off 231, so I might flip long. Basically, like again, my strategy with Tesla lately is going to be way fewer trades based only on pure scalps, based on book, and I'll take them with more size because I'm going to feel more confident about them because I've watched them for longer. That's the Tesla thesis as of right now, but how are you doing? I was joking, you had your own Olympics this weekend with all your sports. What are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at the 19.2 dip and pop that we just did on the NQ September contract, keeping my eye on this level. I was watching us trade last night. When the futures contract opened at around 6 o'clock on Sunday, and we were doing the dance with no pants with 19.3. So we kept coming into 19.3. We kept getting multiple rejections. You'll see that overnight touch. We gapped up overnight, but we really weren't able to hold on to 19.3. Then we zigged and zagged a little bit, looking like we're giving up that level now into that 19.2 area. So we'll talk more about that. I like your look on Tesla, no doubt about that. I just want to see what it does at the volume weighted average price. Obviously, Tesla the strongest of the Mag 7 names today, coming into that 230 and 2/3 where said volume weighted average price is hanging out. But the market just took a bit of a nosedive. So we'll see if that continues or whether we get a move back up. I did take an unsuccessful trade on NVDA, small scalp, or not scalp, small loss. Essentially tried to go for that 113 long, a doji candle right now, moving back into 113. So I think this trade is still possible here based upon this level, 113.05, 04, or 2, whatever. That is Friday's closing print on the Monster NVIDIA. So we'll see if it can catch a bid in and around this level. But I shall not take no trades at the moment because it is now time to start the lesson du jour. So let's get right to it. Today, we're talking about island gaps. The whole point here is to basically tell you about a new type of gap, one that I didn't know too much about until I had to start preparing these lessons last week. That's the truth. So let's get right to it and talk about what these ones are, how to trade them, and what they mean for the market. So traders, today, we delve into a less common but intriguing gap pattern, the island gap. This unique formation can offer valuable insights into potential market behavior. Before I go on, I want to tell you that this is mostly a reversal pattern. There are very few scenarios where this is a continuation pattern. I'm going to cover both for the sake of completeness, but you should know 9 times out of 10, I don't know the exact statistics, so maybe I shouldn't have said that, but for the most part, this is a reversal pattern. Nary is it a continuation pattern, but you should be aware of its dual nature. So let's get right to it. What is an island gap? An island gap is characterized by a gap in the price chart that is surrounded by trading on both sides, okay? Essentially, it appears as an island of open price bars isolated from the rest of the price action. I just noticed that I didn't organize my, what's it called? My images over here, Ram. Can you take over for a second there while I just organize this? Because I just totally forgot to do it.
I can't take over. Tesla continues to take over my mind here. Are we going to get filled here with the rest of this position at 75? Yes, we are. Okay, Tesla, let's keep going. I am very proud of how I've been trading the stressful one, to use a Sharif naming strategy, the Cybertrucked one today. Basically, I am still very cautious of the fact that Tesla can bounce at VWAP, which is why I'm giving this zero room to run. I took out part of the position at 230.85s, got involved around 231s. I was willing to add if we got back to 231s or 231.20s. We didn't do that though after I took out some money. So I was like, you know what, Adira? Breathe. If you see any bounces, get out. Saw a little bit of a trampoline-ish action at the time at 230.75. Now we're continuing to grind lower. If we come back and bounce at 230.75, 230.80, which is an area I noticed as a bit of resistance on the book, I will be getting out. I've been taking this with not massive size, but for me, a little bit larger size because I feel confident. I said it to Darwin. Whatever words you want to use, I am feeling it, but I also love learning. So we're going to go back to the lesson if we're ready to go on that.
Thank you for that. All right, so here it is. This is exactly kind of what we're looking at. This is the reversal pattern. So what you'll notice is that there's a gap on the left side and the right side. And the whole point is you can kind of see that it's isolated, hence the word island. And it's also quite short-lived, right? So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle pattern, and then the gap comes right back down. So this is what it looks like. Let's talk about, or here's another one of it here. And this is kind of a bearish reversal, but the reason I wanted to show you this one is that it continues subsequent. So it doesn't have to be a long-term thing. It could be a short-term thing while we continue up in the direction of the trend. That's why I want to show you both of these, because one clearly changes the direction to the downside. One kind of gaps down, but then it's immediately filled. So we need to be on the lookout for that. So this is one that I want to show you guys because this appeared on the Apple chart at 237. So this is a bit of an island gap right now on Apple. It's a 2 candle island gap at that 235, 237. That is all-time highs for Apple. You'll notice that we gapped up. If I was to remove the pre-market price action over here, you wouldn't see these wicks. And so there would be a decided gap between that, and that is the up part of the gap. The down part of the gap is over here, and it's actually a gap even when I include the aftermarket data and pre-market data, excuse me, both. So Apple has a bit of an island gap right here at this 235, 230 in real life. So this is kind of in the wild kind of thing. So I just want to show you guys that for whoever is interested in trading this IRM. So formation of island gaps. Let's talk about this. To form an island gap, these three following conditions must be met. The first one, a gap up or a gap down works for longs and shorts, creating a space on the chart. That obviously we know. Number 2, the price retraces to fill the initial gap, creating a second gap on the opposite side of the original gap. We just kind of saw that depicted, so that shouldn't be too hard to understand. And then third and finally, the price moves away from the gap, from the filled gap, leaving it isolated like an island, right? So we already know that that's what it looks like. So the significance of the island gap, 2 points that I want to mention here. Island gaps can indicate a significant shift in market sentiment or the underlying market conditions, and they often signal a potential trend reversal or continuation depending on the accompanying price action. And we'll look at the reversal signals and the continuation signals. But for me, when they reverse, and 9 times out of 10 they do reverse, to me, it's basically a short-lived market sentiment. So you get that initial gap up, right, showing you buyer exuberance, or that initial gap down showing seller exuberance, and then that gap is immediately filled. So either the headline was transient or wasn't as reported originally, or something happened. We don't need to go through the exhaustive list. Something happened there that happened to change the market sentiment, investor sentiment, quick as you like, because that gap up followed by the gap down, or that gap down followed by the gap up in the case of a short, that is, a short-lived thing, and usually it has something to do with a transient piece of information or something countering the initial piece of information coming in, changing market sentiment. So just think about that, what it means to island gap and reverse. All right, so identifying these reversals or continuations and which one the island gap is basically doing at the moment. So determining whether an island gap signals a reversal or continuation requires a careful analysis of the subsequent price action and technical indicators. Let's look first at the reversal patterns, because they typically result in a reversal. So a breakdown below the lower gap for an uptrend. So we gap up, now we fill the lower gap because we're gapping up, right? So it's an uptrend. Or breakout above the upper gap for a downtrend, so the opposite here, often suggests a potential reversal. So what you should be seeing here is increased trading volume accompanying the breakout or the breakdown, depending on whether you're going long or short, which can strengthen the reversal signal, and you should have confirmation to assist you here. You should be looking at the RSI or the MACD or whatever other oscillator you may want to use. Stochastics involved in there as well. And sometimes they're showing divergence from the price action. So we're getting lower highs on the RSI or the MACD, but we're getting higher highs on the price, typically meaning that is a bearish reversal pattern, and we're going to look at some possible price down movement. Now, continuation signals. Again, very seldomly does an island pattern result in a continuation signal, but it behooves us to tell you a continued move in the direction of the original gap. The original initiation gap suggests a possible trend continuation. You should be looking for increased volume accompanying the continuation north, okay, which can strengthen the signal. And in this case, opposite of what we were looking at for the reversal pattern, the RSI and MACD jives with the price here. So if the price is making higher highs and higher lows, or lower lows and lower highs, typically the MACD will as well. Usually they'll be in tandem. They'll be in touch. So how do you trade these island gaps? So we're going to talk about two different types of trade: the reversal pattern trade and the continuation pattern trade, right? So first, starting with the continuation. So if an island gap is followed by a continuation of the previous trend, your entry is going to be like this. So consider entering a long position after a pullback to the upper gap for an uptrend, or a short position, or for a short position after the pullback to the lower gap for a downtrend, and I'll show you exactly what I mean on the chart in a second. Your stop loss here for the continuation your stop loss order should be below the lower gap for long positions and above the lower gap, or the upper gap, excuse me, for the short positions. Your profit targets, you can use fib retracements or extensions to gauge it. If you see a breakout pattern as well, like a bull flag, you can use the measuring technique, or if you can use the measuring move as well. We've talked about that. Go back and have a look at that lesson. The reversal pattern, so if an island gap is followed by a reversal of the previous trend, your entry here, you're going to wait for a clear break below the lower gap for a potential short position, or a clear break above the upper gap for a potential long. Your stop loss here, you're placing a stop order above the upper gap for the shorts and below the lower gap for the long positions. And your profit targets, same thing here. You should be using fib extensions or retracements, or you can use the measured move, or if there is a specific chart pattern, you can use it gauging that. And so here's the look. So we're moving down. This is kind of a reversal of a bear move. We gap down. So the market digests this bad news for a period here of looks 5 days or 5 candles, then you get your gap right back up. So your buy order would be essentially on the top of the first green candle to fill the gap, and your stop would be right below the gap there. Okay, so that's for the bullish move. The bearish move, exactly the opposite, right? If we gap up with these 3 island candles, essentially what you're looking to do is enter your stop below the upper gap, and you're looking to get short upon completion of the first candle to fill the gap there. So this is an island gap bearish reversal. So that's basically all that there is to that. Not much else we can say about these island gaps other than they can be quite bamboozling. Most of the time, though, they are reversal patterns. So if you see them, you know, you should have a little bit, a hint of bearishness in there.
Yeah, no man is an island, no trader is an island. So, yeah, we're trying to do those lessons here. But yeah, it's interesting, too, to think that these kind of random formations can also still be a sign of something else in the market or in the chart or in the stock. So thank you, Sharif, for preparing that lesson. As always, I wish I could say I've done something during the time of that lesson other than stare at Tesla, but that would be a lie. And we don't believe in lying here on Trader TV Live. Nor do we believe in it now to trade. Basically, I've been watching Tesla have this like deeply fascinating range here on the book. We've had lower highs. We had a very bamboozling fake out breakout into 230. And I basically was like, if we do this in an interesting way, I will go long. We did not do an interesting way. We faked it out, so I'm happy I didn't get involved in that. If we come back to 229s reject, I will take this short. The trend is your friend till the end when it bends. No bending in Tesla's trend, though it did give you a little bit, as I said, bamboozlement if you were watching the book, because we wicked into 230. So this is pretty interesting. And if you want to vote, though, for a stock you like, because as we said, no man is an island, no trader is an island, we're not either getting that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it's Tesla, maybe it's AMD, maybe it's AMP, maybe it's McDonald's. Maybe you want to munch on some fries there. Let's see what they were reporting. Whatever it is, this new segment brought to you by Real Trading, our new audience segment. Get involved, guys. Make sure your voice is heard, because otherwise you might not get to see whatever ticker you want to see in the afternoon show, and that wouldn't be very fun. So if you want to see your ticker, make sure you vote for it. Make sure it gets represented. Roaring on 20 saying no lies, only fibs.
I love that. I thought I'd give him an LOL for that one.
That's a great pun. I enjoyed that. Tesla hanging out around 229, so I have eyes on that. Yeah, I apologize, guys. I know this is not like a super interesting thing here, just me watching TSLA, but I'm trying to work on my playbook, work on my strategies if I want to become a better tape scalper. I know I am choosing the white whale to do this with TSLA, but I think because it's more bamboozling, I think it gives you some interesting learning opportunities, which is why that's the one I've kind of chosen to learn with. The SPY, though, I do have eyes on. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls, who is basically saying, like, oh, like on Friday, is this your favorite ticker yet? Because I had some fun with those SPY shorts. Right now, we've had quite a bit of downside on the SPY, but we're forming, at least on a wick basis, some support on the 5-minute chart around 543. So I do have all eyes on the SPY for myself right now. What other triggers am I looking at? I have some recent earnings plays from last week on my side chart, but nothing that I'm really seeing that's like screaming to me, Adara, trade me. So I'm going to have to politely decline any of those opportunities. But Microsoft actually right now, the soft one, as Sharif will sometimes call it, we're going to have Satya Nadella and his crew reporting earnings tomorrow after the close, alongside AMD. Tomorrow's going to be like a stacked earnings day. But look at these lower highs on Microsoft. Now, mind you, lots of support here. Look at those bottoming tail candles into 425. I see them. I recognize them. But I also see these lower highs. I'm going to be watching here. I don't want to rush into involvement because I find Microsoft, well, not as spready as its Meg 7 cousin Spreada, can be a little harder to trade. So I want to show it to Sharif because I feel like you are very adept at trading Microsoft. It's what I struggle with a little bit more, but I'm going to watch it as it comes into this 427. If there's a risk that makes sense to me, if there's an entry level that makes sense to me, I will likely take this short, but again, no plans to rush into this trade. How are you doing?
I like your analysis there on the soft one. Lower highs, flat bottom, but good support at that 425 and change. I think you got to bang on with that one. We'll keep an eye on the soft one. Look, I got to tell you, I don't have much of a read on the Mag 7 names. I was looking for a Tesla VWAP hold, and that did not come. We are on the way down, it looks like right now, on said Cybertruck. I'm trying to keep an eye on Apple as well to see what the sitch is around this 217-ish area. We double bottom near, this is the IB low, obviously goes well lower, 215.75, but the closing prints were all in and around this area, 216 and change. So I feel like I don't have a read right now on the Mag 7. So let's leave them for a minute and have a look at the small cap gappers, because there's, well, I don't want to say that there's a lot, but there is some stuff here, and they're not all small cap gappers. There are other names as well that we can look at. I've got Palantir, I've got On Semiconductor, as well as ARM on here. So obviously non-small cap gapper names on said side chart today. So LIPO, no, it does not stand for liposuction. It stands for Lapella Pharmaceuticals. It was set 93. Well, it's at 93 pennies right now. Definitely started off its life south of $1 at that 40 penny area. Looks like it was 39. Then boom went the dynamite, and then we got a triple top on the 5 at $1.50, and that was as good as we could do on the day, still up 133%, but south of the volume weighted average price and also south of that dollar trade. So to me, it's got to weasel its way back up above $1, above that volume weighted average price for me to get interested. It did find a bit of a base though, for whatever reason at the moment, underline at the moment at said 90 pennies. Let me give you the deets. $7.16 million market cap, a cool, an easy, a light 161 million shares traded on the day with a float of 4.8 million shares. So that's definitely a little bit on the smaller side. Let's shout out the NOS boss and his crew and see what the short float is. Negligible. 0.36 of the 4 some odd million is shorted, so nothing really to talk about there. LIPO looking good though. Let's talk about this one. TWOU up 108%. 60 million shares traded on the day. Yada, yada, yada. Let's see what the float is to see if we can get parabolic. Yeah, 2.6 million shares here. Decent look. Started off at $1.25, got all the way up to almost 3 1/3 there at the highs, but you know, no pre-market high. Doing the dance right now with VWAP for whatever reason. Found a bit of a base there at 2 1/3. Trying to do the dance with 2 3/4, 2 2/3. A bit of a tougher one to read as well. TWOU. I'm not going to bother going through the headlines, but yeah, these ones are in play. I'd say LIPO still, it's got to get up above $1, but TWOU still, you know, checked off correct on my trading list there with respect to above the pre-market high, above VWAP, yada, yada. NIPG, this one's 64%, just topped out there. This was squeezing while we were yapping. This got to 16.75, quite extended off the 10 moving average right now on the 5, exponential moving average. I want to see what it does with 14. The closing print on this, $9 on Friday. This is, let me give you the details on this one. I don't see the market cap for whatever reason. Is this new? Oh, okay, this is a second day play. So this IPO'd on the 26th, or was it a SPAC? Let me find out. Let's have a look over here. Let's find out by going to the 15, see if it was hanging around 10. No. So this looks like it was either a DL or an IPO or whatever it was. Is this IPO? I'm just looking, guys. Give me a second. IPO Secure. This was an IPO on the 26th. Okay. So this is a second day play. NIPG, all-time highs. It's only a second day play. So we'll keep eyes on that. I don't have too much information about it. See if it can hold above 14. COMM, the shareage is not really doing a whole lot today, but it's a good chart pattern, trying to hold up above the volume weighted average price, 17 1/4. I've got on semiconductor for strength. I'm looking at this 78, 77 area. If it can hold that previous peak, it definitely bounced off that previous area of resistance, now support, trying to hold up above the volume weighted average price, but you have the entire market turning back down, and it's not sparing on semiconductor, who reported this morning. I'm also very interested in a 140 level here on ARM. So it's above 140 right now. Let's see if it can hold that level and curl back up. ARM getting destroyed today on the back of a downgrade because looks like mobile phone sales for Android weak, and they do a lot of the chips for them. And as well, these AI PCs may not be the big hit that the market is expecting as a result of some consumer weakness at Adair. So ARM in focus.
Yeah, Tesla playing a fun little game right now, and it's called Let's Not Give Adair her 228.50 short fill. We'll brush up into it. We'll kiss the, I don't know what that was. We'll kiss the price level, and then we'll back away. Also, bless you to whoever sneezed. That being said, I actually am going to cancel this order now right after I was like, oh, it won't fill me. And I said that because I didn't like the higher lows we were making. I was like, this could be a bit of a reversal. Why did I want to go short? Look at that bottoming tail candle. Look at that 228.50 rejection. Also, it was interesting when we got to the book, we held 228.50. I was like, oh, we're going to bounce. Oh, gets 228.60. Then we come back down. So I like the area. Looks like I could have been right about the area, but I don't want could have. I want to feel confident in it. At that point, I did not. I stand by leaving. Trade I do not stand by, Microsoft. I want to talk about this. So I know I was saying, oh, I'm looking at it for a short flat bottom break. Then I watched the book here. And that 425, we get to 70s. and then we bounce. We're curling higher. I'm like, okay, I like, take it with not a giant amount of shares, you know, a small handful, a helping. And I basically was like, I think we're going to go long here. Look at all that support we're making. And to be clear, this still could be a little bit of a reversal in Microsoft, but it's like, Adara, that wasn't what you were thinking of it as. You don't even trade Microsoft. Why are you looking here for different ideas? So it was just poor planning on my part. Should have stuck to my plan. When we had that decisive break below 425.50s in the book, I got out. I shouldn't have gotten in the first place. If we get above the 90 MA decisively, or specifically this level is actually confluencing with the 90 MA right now, that 426, 20-ish area, which was actually going to be my first peak wetter in the long. I pressed the rinse button, which is accurate because that's what happens to me in Microsoft. But the point is, if we get back to 426.20, that's what I want to see over here on this Microsoft. Happy I decided not to get in Tesla because it turns out that was actually a bit of a reversal area. Going to give myself a small pat in the back for my book reading skills, but an L for Microsoft. But you know what's great about these markets is they give you so many opportunities. It's a big, bright, beautiful world. So many different charts here to look at. And I want to be really cognizant, making sure I have ideas that make sense and not just hopping into things that kind of look okay. NVIDIA trying to make a little bit of a reversal. SPY, my new bestie, no, I'm joking. But the S&P 500 has been really fun for me to trade as of late in its ETF form, the spider. Look at what we're doing here. I don't want to use the 90 MA as a level because, of course, that, you know, it's not necessarily going to always give you levels, especially it's a little bit harder for these levels on the charts for the ETFs, and especially for like the market ETF. This is the whole SPY. It does not care about my 90 MA at all. That being said, I said I liked that 544. I don't know if they said that on the show, but it was something I was certainly thinking about. What we do here will be crucial for me. So the SPY chart will be one I'm spying for right now. Are there any other things people are looking at? People asking about ARM. I forgot about this.
Yeah, I'm watching
because
it too.
ARM, yeah, Sherry's watching ARM. Let's, you know, put your right arm in, you put your right arm out, you put your right arm in, and you sort it all about. If you were doing that this morning, you're doing quite well here. You were soft banking on that arm short, but get a little bit of a base here, 138.50. That was almost a pushback, but I restrained myself. I like that we're rejecting the 90 MA, but I think this support we're trying to form here at on a candle basis, like 139.30 on the 5-minute. This is interesting. ARM is not one that I usually trade because the spread is a little too meta-esque for me.
Yeah.
But I think this is an interesting look here for ARM. Best of luck to anyone trading. Hopefully you can strong arm that stock. Right now, though, that SPY bounce at 544, which is a bit of an area I liked on it, is what I'm going to keep an eye on. I think I'm going to try to get long the SPY here if I have an area that makes sense, because I don't want to. No interest in chasing the market here, guys, at all. How are you doing?
I agree. I don't want to chase the market, and I want to see exactly what we do at 19.2. We're weaseling our way up there. It's the 10 exponential on the 5. We don't really have price action resistance there. That would come to 19.225, so that would be a bit of a deeper retracement. That level also has a bit more action there in the pre 19.225, but I want to see what we do with the 100-point level, especially since this bounce was so anemic. Doesn't even look like we're going to weasel our way up there right now. Maybe we needed a second attempt. The reason I'm looking at that level is because I want to know what to do with these Mag 7s, right? We're getting a bit of a bounce on the Mag 7 right now. Some are reaching some moving averages, some are not. Like, for example, Amazon reached the 20 and breached it. Meta barely got to the 10. Microsoft couldn't even get to the 10, nor could Apple. So lots of different looks right now on the future, and I'm unsure exactly how to trade these. So I'm going to pack my patience until I like what I see. 19.2, either we bounce off it or take it. I'm good either way. I just need to know how to tilt my bias, so to speak. I'm still looking at ARM. The reason I'm looking, and I haven't gotten into anything here, because it was a 140 hold, but we're still below the 10 exponential. And the last time we weaseled our way up into the 10 exponential, we rejected. So if we weasel up into that 141 and a quarter, reject, I'll get short. If we blow through it, I'll be looking to see what we do at the 20, because we still haven't had a 20 exponential retracement on the 5 quite yet. So yeah, I mean, they're both. These names are kind of in no man's land for me, and that's got me sitting on the sideline a bit. But I see that On Semiconductor did generally hold the volume weighted average price. It did breach it, obviously, as you can see on a wick basis. These two candles, though, were the only ones that breached it on a closing basis. Quickly, though, was reclaimed and back up into 79. Still a lower high below that $80.50 area, which was the high of day, at least so far. So still keeping an eye here on ARM, keeping an eye on all these names, but we are getting moves right back down on all the names, Adara, and I saw you printed up there. Let us know all about it.
Thank you. I took 30 pennies on the remaining 2/3 of my SPY position. Took the first part out here. I think, what was this, like 12 pennies? It wasn't crazy. Basically, why I wanted the SPY short. I know I initially said, I'm going to look long the SPY because they're bouncing off the 90 MA. So I know I did the thing I said got me messed up on Microsoft. But the difference between the Microsoft and the SPY trade is the SPY, I've been waxing poetic about that 544. If not externally, at least I know in my head for quite some time. This is a level I was like, okay, cool, I like. I pull it up as a potential long here if we bounce again off that 544.10s and we break below. We come to 544, we break down. We come back, we retest, I get involved. And I say, hey, if we come and bounce off 544.10s again, I'm outie. We try to bounce off 544.10s for a bit, but we do it in a way that is kind of anemic, to use a Sharifism. A little bit of a lack of iron there for that SPY trade. So then we got back below and I say, okay, Adara, we have a little bit of a bounce at 543.80s. Get out part there. Be willing to add if we come back to 544s. Got out part there. We didn't come back. Basically, I said, if I see any kind of slowdown in the book, get out of Dodge. Ended up taking 30 pennies, got out at 69s. What's life without whimsy? But more realistically, it was just where the price ended up being. So took out the final third of the position there. Please just punch. This is the type of trading we got to get back into. I totally missed that Tesla short opportunity around 229.50s. But as I said, TSLA is going to be less of a chart trade for me and more of a book trade. So that's all good, baby. This market has been I don't want to say it's been a dream. It's been, a wonderful opportunity. You don't want to be sleeping on this market, that's for sure. This Microsoft short around that 426 area was clearly in play, but it's been rangy a bit, so I want to keep my eye on MSFT, but I want to be cognizant to not revenge trade because you don't want to do that. That's never fun. So lots of interesting things happening on this here Marquette. Bring it down, says Corey 25S. Yeah, I don't think the market needs you to tell you that because I think it's like taking that lesson on its own. So shout out to you, Corey S. Also, I forgot about this, but during the lesson, Broad Street Wolf tagged me. Apparently their name is Broad Street Wolf and not Broadest Wolf. Oh, so they just wanted to clarify that.
Very nice. Okay.
Let me put that out there because I just remembered that. But yeah, NVIDIA kind of coming back into that 112 area where the players I have heard sometimes dwell. So let's keep an eye on this. Tesla dropped back down to 223, says Pat Pitcha. Sorry, probably butchered your name, I apologize. There's a level in Tesla I like, and it's 226. And I talked about this a little bit on Friday, but 226 in the daily chart for Tesla has just been so juicy that I want to discuss it. If it will give me, okay, here we go. So Tesla 226 on the daily. We're talking about gaps, right? Look at this gap down into 226 for Tesla. We have that wick up. We open more or less around that 226. Waffle around. We have that big wick into 226. We reject. We can't even get into 226 before falling on Friday. This 226 here, if I zoom out even further, has been a level, 226 more or less, right? Like it's Tesla. But we had a couple gaps around this area as well going back into January 2024 and November 2024. So Tesla 226 for me, if we fall, that's a level I'm going to be keeping an eye on. So I appreciate that mention there. Pat Pichia, I'm so sorry, I definitely butchered your name there. But yeah, NVIDIA, I was like, oh, maybe forming support, deciding to not dwell at 112, looking to break even a little bit lower. What a market. I'm just trying to find some opportunities here. McDonald's actually pushing higher off the 90 MA, so that could be a look, but not trying to rush into anything, taking it nice and slow as the market continues to drop viciously. How are you doing with your Qs?
The printing, and I'm upset. I'm doing well in the Qs, but that's not really the excitement here. I want to complain about the fact that I tried to get short arm and we need locates, and none of the big kahunas are over here to help us with that. So a little bit of a tough move there for me as I tried to short the monster, not the monster, excuse me. I'm just not concentrating as I said. Sorry, 1 second here. There we go. Yeah, I tried to get short on the break of 140 again, and this one requires locates. There we go. We just broke 139. We're on our way down more here, 138 and change. So we'll see if we can wet our beak on some shorts once the big kahunas get back. I'm going to look to short the pops on the future. We just printed on this short right now, but that ain't really the move. Let's see if we can continue down a little bit more over here on these names. All the indexes, by the way, guys, in negative territory. We have the ES down a quarter, the NQ down a fifth, the Dow and the Russell faring a little bit worse today. The Dow, which outperformed the Russell last week, 0.42 on the Dow, 1.26 in negatory land on the Russell. So the Russ taking it on the chin today after having a really good time as of late. So keeping my order to short 64.90 on the T-triple-Qs. That's about that 19,150 level on the future, which we have a bit of a area of previous support now looking like resistance. Well, let's see if we can weasel our way down to 19.1, maybe even 19,000, who knows. So keeping an eye on that. All the Mag 7s, really, with no exception, are all making lower highs and lower lows. Apple included in that as well, even though it's found a bit of a base at 216.50. You can see everything really kind of pointing down. Tesla giving up well, not most, but a lot of the gains today, was up over 6% at the high there at 240, 234, 430 or so, but has been a little bit weak as of late. Still waiting for that ad around 88s on the future. Looking for that ad on the Qs. Not much in terms of size left on this trade. Keeping an eye on the on the small cap gappers. Palantir continuing to make lower highs and lower lows as it goes down into 26 3/4. PLTR rejected there off the 10 exponential on the 5, rejecting that $27 area. A bit of a 2-candle rejection there as it looks to come down a little bit more. Even though it got an upgrade today, it was an upgrade. What was?
Palantir got a price target increase, but it also had a partnership with this Tree Energy Solutions.
That's the one that makes electric natural gas, which I didn't even know was a thing. So coming up to the high here is the future. I'm looking to get at it 88s here, Dara.
Yeah, I took a Tesla trade, made profit on 2/3 of it, lost in the last third. A little bit Tesla pointed to myself, disappointed, because I should have known, should have just taken everything out there at 30s. We kept bouncing off 30s, but you know what? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. As, to quote the Sufjan Stevens song, should have known better. But now all I can do is learn from that. Next time I'm going to take these Tesla scalps, especially as we're trying to find a bit of a base here on 227s. Take the whole thing out. No pieces or dreams, Adara. Only nightmares in Tesla. I'm going to stop clapping dramatically now. But yeah, this TSLA, I actually should have been waiting for the area that I really like, which I know I said, Tesla, I'm trying to trade less on the chart. But if I see something I like in the book at this chart level, which is 222.8, what is it, like 30, 20s, I want to be watching out because that was a huge area of support earlier. We came up, we saw, we quadrunked. So I want to be watching this. I don't think Tesla's going to give me that level. Looks like we're going to keep riding higher. But like I said, for me, Tesla, the big white whale level, going to be my 226s, keeping an eye on that. If I don't get it, that's so good. I don't want to get so anchored to the Cybertruck. Microsoft continuing to break lower. I know I got a little bit burned due to my own poor decision making here on that initial trade, but I initially liked it as a short. The short thesis still stands. Why don't I continue to look at this as a short, Adara? Come on, flip the style up. If they hate, let them hate, and watch a couple cents pile up realistically because it's me trading Microsoft. So let's be aware of this. I was using that 50s area previously as a bit of an area of support for my ill-conceived long. So given that it's ill-conceived, I don't want to put too much stock in that level, but I want to see what we do here around 50s on Microsoft. Really, I guess 3 names I've been mostly looking at today: MSFT, TSLA, SPY, and the SPY being like, SPY, why did you look away from me, Adara? I'm still rejecting off this area. So I want to see what we do here. Again, with the SPY, it's always going to be a little bit less of a chart trade and more of a book trade, but there are some times where it gives you levels on the chart to be aware of, much like Tesla. I guess I trade Tesla and the SPY pretty similarly for reasons. I don't know. But let's see what we do here in the SPY. But what are other people looking at here in the market? No Real says opinion on NVIDIA. I'd love to give you my opinion on NVDA, the monster, as Sharif calls it. And it has been a monstrous day to be short for you, NVIDIA. I'm sure you're making some pretty pennies, some nice coin there. If you were NVDA to the downside, look at all of these 9 EMA rejections here. We had this nice little VWAP rejection, all these topping tail candles before the big huadunk. We had a bit of a support, like this pre-market range, this 113.40 to 114, did not even care about that area. NVIDIA's like, what do you mean pre-market range? Fell. However, right now, NVIDIA, again, being quite fascinating around this 112. Look at this little wick of support for that 112 area on the book. I want to see NVIDIA still having these lower highs, lower lows, so there could be a short here, but I would be more cognizant of what we're doing here for myself anyway around this 112. It is a whole dollar level. It is an area we briefly tried to find support earlier, so I don't want to just be scoffing at this 112 area the way NVIDIA scoffed at its pre-market range. That's going to be my look on this. What about Coinbase? Yeah, thank you. Coin, says ScarJo Rabbit. So I always love your name. It's a great name. Let's take a look at Coinbase, because they actually report. We're going to see how much coin they're making as of Thursday after market. Their crypto cousin, Mara, also reporting. Oh, Coinbase. I don't know why I did that weird horror movie voice. Yeah, this one was like, oh, maybe we'll break out. Maybe we'll break out. Higher lows. Flat top in the pre. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And then we open and we quadunk. We have come up here, make a decisively lower high. I don't want to say bear flag, but a little bit, because we do have that move down and a bit of chop and churn. Get to 246s, even lower. Then we make a lower high, continue to see lower highs, lower lows. I want to see what we do here. A lot of these looking similar, trying to peak up near that 9 EMA. It'll be interesting to see what they do from this level, but COIN, a little bit bamboozling, still weak, but trying to form some support, much like the rest of the market. But I see you are printing there on the Qs.
Yeah, we're short the Qs, looking for that rejection off 19173, which is the closing print from Friday, as we look to bounce off generally not 19.1. We could come into 19.2, so I need to be careful here. Some green candles coming in on some of the Mag 7 names. You'll see NVIDIA catching a bit of a bid here, trying to work its way up into the 10 exponential on the 5 off that 111.43 low of day. The monster trying to recover a little bit. Apple finding a bit of support at that 216.50 as it looks to curl back up. Tesla, though, continuing to put lower lows and lower highs. You are getting some greenage here on on Microsoft, you're seeing it a little bit on Meta, at least in the last couple of candles, but nothing really decidedly aggressively into the high side. So I'm packing my patience here with the short. First beak weather I've got at 82s and then at 72s. I'm going to stop out if it does break decisively above 10. So the stop is a little bit in no man's land, quite frankly, and I don't like it because it doesn't jive with the levels on the NQ. So if I get stopped out, I'm completely fine with that. I'm just going to get back in if the trade is valid. But yeah, it's working its way up, and it looks like I did get stopped out here for the last remaining amount, but I still like this trade if we reject. So yeah, and see, this is the problem sometimes of trading the triple Qs using the NQ levels. It's just sometimes it just don't jive, right? So back in at this moment, looking for that move right back down. I'm going to pack my patience on this one with, let's put that. There we go. So then we'll put the stop in place there. Let's see what else. Everyone's asking about AMD. Well, how come we're looking at AMD? It's only down 0.4. So let's have a look at that. Let's bring the side chart in and have a look at our friend AMD. Oops, AMD, here we go. So AMD just broke below the low of the day at around 140. It's printing lower highs and lower lows, bouncing off that 138.75. It's been a love affair with a 10 exponential on the 5 with AMD. So my trade, until I see something different, would be to short off the 10 exponential. If you get a bit of a tougher retracement, possibly into that 140.5, you could be looking for the 20 exponential rejection there. That also helps with a double bottom that you got at 140.50. That was at 10.10 and 10.15. So that could continue to help you come back down as well. Let's see what we're doing on said future. Rejecting a little bit, but nothing really to write home about. Looking for a bigger move down off that level. So let's just try to pack our patience here with the future and see what we're getting. Strobe 9 says SERV. We've been seeing that one show up a lot lately. Scott H has been trading that one. A lot of people have been trading that. I had it on my side chart today, saw that it wasn't doing much in the pre-market, so took it off. Lo and behold, it's awoken, and it's now up 19%, high 18% here. A bit of a dance with VWAP. No real respect for volume-weighted average price on the day. Let me put in the ticker super quick here, you guys, so can follow along. Yeah, so top there at 16.25, breaking through the 15 2/3 top that it put at around 11. Good move there into 15 3/4. I'd look to see what it does at 16, but good strength here for SERV. This has been a multi-day runner. It's a robotics company, Serve Robotics, about $500 million, a bit more, almost $600 million now, market cap on this name. So good strength on SERV, good support also at 14.5. You had a bit of a double bottom there, the last one touching off the 50. But yeah, it's a little zig, a little zag on SERV. So I think you had to have caught this one at the right time to really get going here. So good look. Still keeping an eye on the future as I am out of the money here, but we're still below the 10 exponential on the 5. So I am packing my patience with this trade, seeing if I can get in a little bit more. But we're seeing some green candles now come in on the Mag 7 name. So I got to be careful here. Descending head and shoulders, says Bonkzilla. I'm not sure on what he's talking about there, but yeah, like I love when people calling out these chart patterns there.
Yeah, go chart patterns. Also, go Tesla, question mark. Yeah, Tesla, I'm asking you, will you go? I took a short here. I went to the washroom. Before I did that, I took a short at that 228.20, which I'm only saying because I was like, you know, Derek, take your short. You love this level. Take your shot at it. So I took my shot quickly, took like 20 pennies on that. Basically, I wanted that 228 breakdown, got involved in 228.20, which was that level I was waxing poetic about for briefly, like a short poem. It wasn't like a whole Shakespearean play. It was a brief sonnet. About that level. Then what I do is I come back and I see, hey, now we're bouncing. Look at this. Adara tried the Tesla long, same level, same thesis. 21s did something for us. I ended up getting about 30 pennies. Could have gotten more, but I got out because that was a level I was seeing a little bit of stagnation at when I was involved. Microsoft at my level, says Ricky Peters. Well, thank you. It is. Microsoft is at my level. But I think Microsoft might be a little bouncy at my level. I think it's using this level as a trampoline. I want to see what we do here. If we get back to 75s, that will be a level I like. Thank you, though, Ricky Peters, for calling this out, because this is a level, like I said, I am very interested at Microsoft. At SPY, though, also at my level 544. Isn't it like so fun and bamboozling when all your stocks come into your levels at the same time? You got to like triage, like which stock do I want first? What do I want more? But no, I want to shout out Ricky Peters. I am a little bit hesitant about Microsoft right now because, as Sharif said, there's a lot of greenage happening in MSFT, because I love that word. We also do have what I think is decent support here at this 425, going from a level of wick support to actually a level of candle support here. I will take this with like a scintilla of shares if I do get involved. That would be where I'd be interested, but it looks like Microsoft is trying to at least lull me into a false sense of security, lure me, whatever word you want to use. It's trying to get me interested here. I want to see what we do. I'd rather see a 426 rejection before I get involved, but if we bounce off 426, I'll go long. I feel better about the levels now. I've been watching this for longer, so that's something I have my eye on. I do want to shout out again, Ricky Peters, thank you for reminding me about this. We have such a good chat and such a great community, and with that in mind, we love to give back. So shout out to our new audience participation segment brought to you by Real Trading. If there's any tickers you're looking at and you're like, hey, I wonder what Neil has to say about that. I wonder what Sean has to say about that. Get in the chat, exclamation point, join space, whatever tickers you're fancy. Maybe it's Microsoft, maybe it's NVIDIA, maybe it's AMD, maybe Microsoft is a massive long. I want to shout out Ricky Peters again here for calling out this level. I was a little bit too slow. I want to see if we make a higher high here, because we do have these slightly lower highs. If we break above this 426.85 decisively, it looks like Microsoft is knocking at the door of that now, then I think that'd be a great long reversal. This market has been crazy strong. Vince Jane saying Tesla's still got a heartbeat. Oh, I agree. I flipped into that long briefly because I was like, I think we're flipping from support to resistance back to support here on Tesla. Flip on that one. But now we're coming back to another area from whence we fell pretty viciously, 229.30. I think this could test the strength of Tesla's heartbeat. Let's see if we can pass the Tesla of this 229.30 level. We're kind of having a little bit of a slowing in our nice move up. And to be clear as well, it's worth noting, we are in an uptrend, but we've had a couple topping tail candles on our way up. Tesla, as Sharif said, still really strong on the day. It's up like about 420. So this one's getting puff past to the upside, up about at 4.2% here. Now we're like 4.3. But I want to see if we do it at this 30s level. Looks like we're trying to push higher, but that's the level I'm watching. MSFT trying to continue to push higher as well. So I did miss some of my levels, but that's okay. You're always going to miss things. And you just got to keep your eye on the stuff, seeing what's coming into levels, seeing what's coming into play. NVIDIA, as the rest of the market continues higher, maybe getting a little bit spicy here at this 9 EMA. I do not like spice in the market. or I don't like spice in life, but I do like it on this here market. If we bounce off the 90 MA, I'm tempted to take a very small NVIDIA long position that I would build into. I want to see what we do in 50s here. How are you doing with your Apple?
I just got stopped out of my short on the future because the future popped up aggressively. So we're 0 for 2 on the future. I'm trying the Apple short at VWAP over here. Maybe I should stop looking short. We're above 19.2. We just got into Apple at the volume weighted average price. The break even point on Apple is 217.98. So keeping an eye there to see if we break up aggressively above that level, excuse me. We're seeing some red now coming in at the volume weighted average price. But if the winds of change are coming into this market, then I got to stop shorting. And I'm not trading well today because Apple looks like it's on the way back up. So we're going to have to possibly stop the bleeding up here. So I'm going to have to get out of this. If it continues higher, what am I at here? I'm not sure why it's doing this to me. There we go. So we'll put that one in there. So already put that stop in Apple. It's going to have to reject off VWAP for me to stay in this trade. But we're zigging and zagging right now. A little bit above, a little bit below on Apple. Cybertruck pimping, says King Jesus. Good look there. I'm watching NVIDIA as well come back almost into Greensville to take green. It's got to go above 113. So you're getting that nice rounded bottom, and you're seeing that on a lot of these names as well. So you're seeing that on the Future. You're seeing that on a lot of Mag 7, Tesla included, as it works its way possibly back into the volume weighted average price. So maybe the winds of change coming in on these markets. We're still below VWAP on the Future, but we're above 19.2. We're above multiple different levels that we were having trouble with all day. So still in this Apple short, haven't been stopped out yet, but keeping my eye obviously on the Future and to see exactly whether we keep moving up. The strongest name in Mag 7 world, Tesla, followed by Google, which I had a decided bias against today because of that Search GPT thing from last week. I thought, we would get some more weakness into that. So just in my trade on Apple at the moment, still about 10 pennies out of the money as we deal with that $0.75 level, but not really much going well on my side at the moment, trying to pack my patience with the short. Don't want to get stopped out too quickly. Keeping an eye on the Mag 7 names. On semiconductor, continuing to have trouble with $80. It's moving up into 79s, but this is the one that keeps going. Every time I look at this one, COMM, it's not doing a whole lot in terms of volume, but every time I look at this one, it's a little bit higher than what I saw last time. So I got to start giving this one a little bit respect. 2 1/3 right now. It's trading at as the strength comes in on this name. So keeping an eye on that. And AMD just went green. For those who were asking me earlier about this one, 138.75 LOD, but it's coming in right now back above 140. So it's trying to work its way back up. Let's have a look at what AMD is doing. Good strength there as the overall market also finds a bit of a bid, and that's moving AMD into that 140.50, 140.75 area where we had a double bottom earlier today. So if we continue to pump here, I'm going to be looking for these levels to come into play, 141 even as well, which happened to be that 9:30 a.m. candle low. So strength coming in the market, and that's not helping my short right now on the Future, but got some other trades that I'm keeping an eye on right now on the Mag 7 as well. Some chips, Adara.
Yeah, I'm munching on a chip right now. I'm in that NVIDIA long. Like I said, I want to see what we did at 112.50s. As we got to that 90 MA area, we did bounce. We bounced. I got 33 pennies out here for 2/3 of the position. I wanted 88s. I watched, we got to like 86s, 85s. I said to Dara, you cannot do this. Just take it out at 83s. Got out at 83s, all good there. NVIDIA, for whatever reason, has refused to smoke above at this 113 level. I guess it's asthmatic at this level. I don't know. It does not want that smoke. We keep bouncing off 75s. It's just like, cool, NVIDIA. But I have no interest in adding to you because I haven't seen you prove that you can get to 113. Yes, NVIDIA, I'm talking to you. So I want to see here, we're bouncing above 70s. If we get below 70s, I'll get out. I know I don't normally stay this long. This is like a little bit different for me, but I'm not seeing anything that's telling me NVIDIA wants to break lower. I'm just seeing a little bit of stubbornness on its part. Maybe that reflects stubbornness on my part, but that being said, NVIDIA can continue to get to 112.90s. It just can't break above into 113s. I have only 1/3 of this position left. I want to see what we do here if we get to 113s. But if it decides it would like to be a range from like 112.75s to 112.90s, NVIDIA, I can play you as a small range. By all means, I'm willing to add. I just don't. Okay, we broke above there. I'm going to stop my conversation with NVIDIA. Apparently, NVIDIA likes being talked to, Sharif. Breaking out here above 113s, but I don't know if we can hold above 113, so I'll get out of 113.01s. I have no qualms. I am qualmless. Please just punch. Let's keep going, markets. Microsoft here as well. Oh. Microsoft, you're the recipient of the first pushback of the day. It is below VWAP here. It did make a higher low, especially that interesting area of resistance support flip-flop on the 5-minute chart here at this 426.83. So it pushed above that. We wick above VWAP, and then we pause. I don't want to short Microsoft here. I just want to be cognizant of these levels. MSFT, though, just might not be a chart I'm reading really well, so I might have to let that one go. But EUM, which is, the Russell has been giving you a lot of interesting moves lately. Should have to Sharif, who was mentioning this one earlier. Russell here, around 22222. We're bouncing off the 90 MA. Now, do we have a slightly lower high? Oh, for sure. And I don't want to only take 90 MA bounces. Just because it worked on NVIDIA does not mean it's going to work on every single chart, on every hither and dale. Do you know what I mean? But I want to see what we do here because we have had these higher lows. Looks like we're trying to form some support. I'm watching IWM around this confluence of twos that we're seeing, 22222. So I don't have a verdict on this one yet, but I'm going to wait for jury deliberations. Going to voir dire the stock, see if I have any way to see what we do here if we push above that 222.40s before I decide if I have enough conviction to take the trade. But yeah, if anyone wants to get involved here, again, say it again, make sure we have everybody voting, exclamation point, vote. Oh, sorry, join, don't exclamation point vote. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it's Microsoft, maybe it's Tesla, maybe it's AMD, maybe I almost said A&W, maybe it's AMC, maybe it's Apple, whatever ticker you want to get involved in. If you want to hear how Sean or Neil would trade it, if you want to have Sharif tell you what exactly is going on with this from a catalyst perspective, get in that chat and get involved. Fake moves sell, says Mama Hua. We also have Kun Chin Lee saying this is a fake bounce. So some people saying that this bounce might be a little bit anemic. We're going to have to find out if we've got the iron behind us, if the iron's hot in these moves. But let's wait and see here. EWM still hanging out around 222s. I don't want to jump into a trade on that. TSLA pushing above 230, so that could be an interesting look. Right now, just kind of waiting for things to come into my levels. I'm trying to be a little bit more of a patient trader because as bears versus bulls, shout out to you. We'll sometimes say in the chat, patience, PAYTIENCE. How are you doing?
Good. Not good, but good. So I got stopped out again of my Apple trade as this one breaks through the volume weighted average price on the way to 218. It's very close to going green on the day. It's just got to break above 218, and then that's where Greensville is. The closing print from Friday as well as pivot points, both at that exact same level there on AAPL. So watching this one like a hawk, it did find some good support at that 216 and 2/3, 216 and a half, where it had some pre-market action down there. Wasn't alive to that, but this market recovering in a way that I didn't anticipate, quite frankly. Like we're still, only up 0.5%. It's not like huge, but we are at VWAP right now on the NQ September contract. Watching this one to see exactly what we do with the volume weighted average price. We had a whole bunch of resistance at 19,250. That didn't hold it back. So if we really clear VWAP here, it looks like it would be or will be possibly a good recovery on the day. Just got to see exactly what we do here. I feel like I haven't had a read for these markets the last little while, so I have to be careful exactly how I've been trading it, trying to stay positive on this and not really, get down on yourself because it doesn't really help a whole lot to be annoyed, but keeping an eye and wanting to know exactly how to, play it the right way. I mean, you see a whole bunch of green candles coming in, but for me, I was unsure. I mean, is this a deeper retracement into a more of a bear move, or is this an outright reversal? That's kind of always the question that traders have issues with. Is this a retracement or is this a reversal? Right now, getting a bit of a rejection off the volume weighted average price on the NQ September contract. Keeping an eye there. Keeping it on Apple at 218. Tesla's also at VWAP at that 230 area. So interesting look for a lot of these ones. Nvidia's right back at 113, which is the closing print from Friday. Could encounter resistance in and around there. So really looking long now, but I need a little bit more proof, and that's a hold above the volume weighted average price on the future. And if you're going to take Apple long, you want to see it at least hold positive. It's going here. Apple, it really is a little bit of a stronger one, of almost $1.50 now, or more than $1.50 off the bottom. I did not anticipate this. I thought, negative catalyst for Apple, even though it was a recipient of a couple of price target increases lately. I didn't think it would have this kind of strength. So keeping an eye here. 2 topping tails right now, at least for the moment, on the NQ September contract, not topping tails, sorry. 2 candles that really haven't cleared volume weighted average price too aggressively on the future, but it is looking like it's weaseling its way up now. This is kind of what I'm looking at here on my side chart. That's what I keep looking at. It's working its way through these resistance levels at 250. It's broken the VWAP, and all we really have is that 300-point level in some of these wicks here. Obviously, the IB high, 19,377. We're still about 100 points south of that at the moment. Packing my patience. Let's see what we get here on the future. You have Microsoft at VWAP. You have Tesla at VWAP. Google just barely breached it. Apple a little bit up above it. So is Amazon. Still hasn't worked its way into it. Nvidia, but the futures, and it's got these markets confusing the what out of me right now. So I'm trying to just stay put, but I'm feeling awfully long here as, these names weasel their way up. So let's look at small cap gappers for a second, see what those are up to. COMM continues to move up, and ON continues to have trouble with 80s. Not much going on there, but ARM finding that support at 138, and it's been weaseling its way up. Bless you, Ram, into 143, looking to go 144, where VWAP is. ARM got a bit of a downgrade today. Not really, but they were commenting negatively about some of the macroeconomic headwinds that could hurt it. For example, the weakness in Android market for Android phones, as well as these AI PCs not really being all they're cut out to be. So keeping an eye now on the future as we are really breaching that level on the NQ September contract today. And now Microsoft, Meta, and Google all above the volume weighted average price. So is Amazon and Apple. Is it time to go long here? I personally don't know.
Yeah, bless you, Ramin. Yeah, I tried to take Tesla long here, ended up losing 8 pennies. I want to clarify. So what am I clarifying there? I just want to say, I got long 21s. We were bouncing off 20s for a bit there. I was like, okay, cool. I get involved. We get to 320.39s. I'm like, or sorry, 320, 230.29s. I'm like, or like what, like 20 pennies in the money, all good. Then we fall, we make lower highs. I'm like, Dara, I don't like this. We break decisively below 230.20s here. I end up getting out at 12, so I lost about 8 pennies on this trade. But I was like, I don't like it when I'm seeing the book. Adara, trust yourself. Get out of Dodge or get out of the Cybertruck, as it may be. The stressful one does continue to live up to its name, but Tesla making higher lows in the book. We fall here. I was trying to take the short of the 230 breakdown. Didn't end up getting it. It's all good. I watched, though. We get to like 229.50s. Then we bounce to 230s, come back down. Now we're bouncing around 70s or 80s. Higher lows in the book. I think Tesla's curling for a move higher. But, I don't just trade Tesla. I look at other names, too, I promise. I enjoy the Cybertruck, but there are other trading vehicles to look at as well, including NVDA. NVIDIA, bit of a topping tail candle. Happy I got it where I did. That 113 level was certainly pretty spicy. But now we're actually trying to push higher. But why is this interesting? I mentioned earlier that when NVIDIA had its move down, it really did not give a hoot about this, earlier pre-market range we had around 113 to 114. Or sorry, 113.40 to 114. But look now where we have that wick of rejection. That's right, the bottom of that pre-market range, 113.40. I think this is interesting. This could mean nothing, of course, Sometimes the market really doesn't care about previous levels, but I want to be cognizant of what I'm seeing on NVDA. Tesla also in its own little range, like I said, that 229.70s to 230 that I definitely have to be aware of. McDonald's making new high of day. This was an earnings trade that I guess originally investors were not a huge fan of, but then they said, I'm loving it. And Microsoft climbed a little bit. McDonald's. Different ticker that starts with an M, climbing a little bit higher here. Look at this area here in McDonald's, 260. We have this move up here, push lower, then we come back up, and look where we bounce. That's right, 260, resistance and support, flip-flops. Then we bounce off it over a wick basis. So 260 is a level in McDonald's, not Microsoft. It's certainly an interesting one to me. I like that we're bouncing off the 9 EMA. I want to see what's in store for this MCD, McDonald's. So that's an interesting look. Yeah, we do have that Tesla 230 bounce I should be aware of. But also, I was seeing CrowdStrike, actually. I haven't looked at this one yet in the day, but I just remembered it was on the sector board. It was actually green, even though it had a price target decrease. Currently up about 3%. So, okay, CrowdStrike may be kind of rangy. This goes on my side chart, but you know what's going to strike now? Some knowledge from Neil. So we're going to see what's going on in the real deal with Neil. His lesson of the day.
Get it, Neil.
Welcome to your lesson of the day. I was just about to take a bite of my salad. I'm like, oh, you know, Adara's mid-thought. I'll be able to have a little bit of the egg salad that we have on here. I feel like we've been getting egg salad a lot lately. So first lesson, if you don't like egg salad, then don't eat the lunch here and be on the salad menu. But the second thing is, if you like earnings season, there's a really sort of easy setup. And I was just talking with a trader on the floor about this. And I was going to talk about the simple earnings breakout trade. And he just mentioned it last week on a name that I didn't even think about. So I'm going to lead off with the name that I hadn't thought about, which is GE. But the idea is, we know catalysts are important to the market. We know that a stock doing excessive volume or good relative volume usually needs some kind of a driver. Well, what better driver than earnings? We have a big, massive earnings week here with Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon. The big names are starting to come right through. But during earnings season, you're going to get daily, at least a few times a week, a stock that just seems like it wants to go and gives you a tremendous one-time opportunity. So GE is the one I want to start with because this is the one that one of the traders on our floor who's been around a long time was just talking about. And I think you want to lead off with this. Like, it's pretty obvious. There's your volume spike day. Pre-market makes a high. You see it try to go in the other direction, kind of head fake in the pre-market, and then break out. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this exact same thing. Gapping up, giving back, to the point that a lot of people give up on the stock. And then there's just one trade here. 170 breakout. So why was I thinking about this? Because most of you have probably looked at McDonald's today. And McDonald's, what happened this morning? Clear top at $256. Lulls you into, hey, we're going to the downside. They actually missed on the top and the bottom. Same store sales actually were a decline for the first time in a while. But it traps shorts, possibly under 250, and then starts trending into the upside. Trend, consolidate under. Oh, looking at that break at 256. And then just gone to the upside after that. Not incredibly complicated. And on top of that, you would have gotten some dip buys, albeit, I think, a tricky one. And I'm going to throw something in here because this is something Obi and I have talked about for quite some time. I'm now looking at this. I don't know why this didn't save. But I'm just going to throw this trend line up because if McDonald's breaks this trend line, I'm going short into VWAP. It's that simple. And we've been doing this on explosive runners. If it makes a nice pattern trend up after the opening breakout, I'm going to look at that trend all day long for a reversion back in through it, especially if you can make a double top. But you had GE do this for you. We showed that last week. You have McDonald's doing pretty much the same setup as this as well. And on top of that, when you look at McDonald's, it goes breakout right into this resistance on the daily. Like, how clean is that? But there can't be more than those. Oh, let's look at ON, up 14% today. We knew they also reported. Key thing here, do people usually trade McDonald's on this show? Probably not. ON, not a name that you're going to look at very often. GE, certainly not a name we're going to look at very often. But what do they have in common? It's earnings day. Now, this is an extreme example because you're breaking huge early in the pre-market. But look at what happens here at the open. At the open, you are dipping once before 9, and then right here at 9:30, there's your red candle right into the open, dips into a previous key 76 level, holds the higher low, and it climbs higher. Broke out at about 78. I tried to join late. It's like, what are you doing? You got to have it here. You got to have that first breakout when it traps people that you're going to be selling into 9:30, and then off to the races. They all have something in common here. They all reported. They all had very, very clean setups at the open. Now, ON is a continuation trade, whereas both GE and McDonald's were like this gap up, dip, and then break out the high. And we know breakout trades can go either way, but what's so great about the breakout trade is it's so binary. Like, hey, you're only putting this trade on earnings on McDonald's. It's a very clean and obvious level to look for a breakout trade. When it happens, you're like, if it breaks 56, I'm going long. If it never breaks 56, you don't have to make a trade. It's like this trend trade. Well, it either breaks the trend to the downside and then I take the short, or I'm just sitting there not trading it. Maybe you could be scalping long off of this. So I feel like earnings season is a unique opportunity to find things like this. Not always in the big cap names, which obviously you'll be in and out of more. Like, we love NVIDIA earnings, Tesla earnings, and all that good stuff. But every now and then during earnings season, you're going to get one of these names you're not accustomed to trading, like a GE, like a McDonald's, like an ON Semi, which is going to provide that big, clean breakout. Dip, rip, even dollar. You get in. If it rallies, you hold some for the dream, make that money. And we always talk about expanding your horizons as a trader. That's not just trading setups. It's about taking a breakout setup and just simply applying it to a stock that you might not normally trade. And an earnings season is the exact time you want to do it, because then you've got the extra volume, the extra volatility in some of those names that you might not usually get them. So very, very simple strategy there. Shout out to anyone that already had McDonald's or ON today or GE last week. Props to you on that. But let's add those to our toolbox. That's your lesson of the day.
Thank you very much, Neil Roberts, baby. Dropping hotlines every day around that noon hour. Catch Neil every day. Yeah, around that noon hour. And he will be dropping hotlines. So shout out to him. Thank you very much for that, Neil. Eloquent, informative, and awesome as always. I've been continuing to watch the future because we're still at 19.3, a little zig, a little zag. You've got a lot of good recovery on some of the Mag 7 names. Google looks like it's really breaking out above VWAP there. So is Apple, but both coming into key area. Well, not both. Apple coming in a key area of technical resistance at 218 and 2/3. We had a bit of a double top there at 1040 and 1045. Still keeping an eye on the futures. It's not really blowing through 19.3, so we'll keep an eye here. This was a bit of a tough level overnight for the future. I was watching this level yesterday in the aftermarket, and we definitely had trouble taking it on a closing basis. We were up above it. I mean, we got like 30 points above it, but definitely right now some selling coming in. Charlie, Adair, Sharif, hi y'all. I'm late to hop on today. Was there a significant Tesla catalyst? Yes, sir, there is. Morgan Stanley adding Tesla to their whatever favorites list or whatever. Top picks, yeah, and a whole bunch of reasons. Cost cutting, really important for them. Product diversification, moving away from cars like energy storage and solar and Optimus and some other things. They're also very happy with well, not the margins, but I can show you in a second here. Just keeping my eye on the future. Yeah, so basically Morgan Stanley giving them the nod, and that has Tesla at the highs. I believe it was up like over 6% now, about 5% as it recovers a little bit above 230. Good strength. I think we're going to hold on to, looks like right now, 19.3 on the future. We'll have to wait and see. But you're getting all sorts of green candles right now on AAP. Where is it? AAPL as it breaks through the high there. Good strength for Apple as we break through 19.3 and hold above 19.3 on the future. So good strength coming in on these markets. NVIDIA not participating too much, but not a bad look. It looks like it is really more the Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Google show. And we're still not at highs for NVIDIA and Tesla though there, but good recovery nonetheless.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned NVIDIA here. I took a couple NVIDIA shorts as the thing kind of trickled to the downside. You guys know I was like talking like, oh, 113.40, 113.40. What was that voice? We had a bit of support here. Like I said, the pre-market at 113.40. Oh, I didn't even realize there was even more confluence. We wicked into it on the way down, then continued to go lower. Then look where we cannot get above. That's right. 113.40, hello. Don't know what that was. Took that short here around 113.25s, got out around 113, low teens, so took about 10 pennies on it, larger position. Then I took a smaller position at this 113 07s, I think. I wanted to see us stay below 113.20s. We did. I got out around 113, so not a massive trade. But then I wanted to see what we did here at 113.80s. Why? Because that was an area that, I'm going to switch to the 5 minute because that was okay, there we go. So in the 5 minutes you could see here, and this actually did manifest, that 112.80 area was really weird for NVDA. We took our sweet time eclipsing that area when we had our breakout back to 113. So I wanted to see what we did there. We had 112.80, we held it, we pushed higher. I wasn't involved in that trade because I wanted to do some more watching and waiting. But I think NVIDIA, I want to just echo Streef's sentiment on this one being a bit bamboozling. If there are levels you like, and if those levels are anywhere from 112.80 to 113.20, maybe 113.40, those levels have come into play, but they're not always going to manifest the way you want them to. Nothing in the market ever will. So that is just my brief spiel here about NVDA. Microsoft, hello. I've been talking about Microsoft more than I've been trading Microsoft, but because I just never really trust my read on this name. But we're kind of coming back to that one of those previous highs that we had here, 128.50. Look at this bit of a topping tail we're getting. We had this big old bullish candle, bulls going growl. I don't know what sound bulls make, but the bulls did that. Now we get a bit of a topping tail candle. I think we could push higher. I just think we have to be aware. Yeah, that's the sound bulls make. They have money coming out of their behinds. It makes a running sound. That's what, shout out to Sean there. Bulls making a running sound. It's just as I was saying, Microsoft getting a bit of a bearish candle. Microsoft's like, what do you mean? And pushes higher. Good look for MSFT. Not one I want to force a read on just because I don't really feel like I have one, but NVIDIA I like. Tesla, like I said, for a book scalp purposes, has been going all right. And SPY continuing to push higher here from 546.30, bit of a chop and churn. Now we're at 546.75, so good look there for the SPY. CrowdStrike, as I said as well. A skosh rangy. If we reject, I want to take a short. I saw that you just were munching on the apple.
I did. I fat fingered though. I took everything out mistakenly as per usual. So I got to get better with that. But yeah, that's my first win of the day. So I'll take it. Yeah, the future on the way up, baby. 19.3 getting cleared quite aggressively. I am trading on the TQQQs if I'm going to trade the future. But that is a beautiful retake of 19.3. I am still a little concerned, even though we've broken above it. These three candles right here from 10.20, 10.40, and 10.45, all topping till that kind of the same area we're at now, 19,320, even though we broke it. So I'm a little concerned with this level, but we are above it and we've got a good little move here. So if we retrace and reject these three topping tail candles from earlier, do we really give back the whole up move, or do we come into a VWAP, for example, make a little bit of a retracement, then break that high later? That's if we reject, right? I'm not saying we were, I'm just saying that there is this level here that we need to concern ourselves with. That's all. But everything else doing quite well. Apple above that level as well. These topping tail candles that came in at the same time on the future as in Apple, 10.40, 10.45. That came in, 218.70, and we're dancing with 70 right now. So maybe we didn't clear the level as decisively as I anticipate or I think. Right now, Apple's still dancing in the 80s. Yeah, I'm going to be looking to trade this one as it's really recovering here, up 0.4. Definitely not the biggest name on the day, but a great recovery off that 216 double bottom, 216.5, double bottom. All right, you guys are asking about TWOU, saying it's curling back up. Look, I got to tell you, I don't think I feel like I've had a good read on TWOU, but here it is. So if it's not respecting VWAP, then don't use VWAP. And in this case, you know, it's a little bit above, a little bit below. To me, that doesn't spell a whole lot of respect. What I do see respect for is this yellow line on my chart. The yellow line is a 20-period exponential moving average, and this time frame is on the 5 minute because the exponential moving averages are different on different time frames. And as you can see, all the closing prints, without exception, have held up above the 20. They've also made incrementally higher lows, not by much, but incrementally is incremental, even if it is a penny or two here. So good luck, but you know, it's just not the cleanest of small cap gappers. It's up 125%. Good respect there. Let's see if it can get above that 289. We're rejected around 1145. Let's check 3. 3 is really the level, even though we've gotten to 329, because all the closing prints have been south of 3. So super interesting exactly what's happening right now on TWOU, but it's going to have to decide whether it wants to zig or zag or whether it wants to be a little bit directional. Amazon just absolutely flew to the high side, and I don't know what's going on. I don't see anything on the blotter, news blotter that is, but there you go. You get that big break of that key area of technical resistance on AMZN that on the day. 184 was a bit of a tougher level, although the IB high did take us to 184.75. You can see that every closing print, essentially subsequent to the bell, has been below that 184 level with a few wicking candles here and there. These two candles over here at 12:10 and 12:15, the first of two candles to close above the 184 level on the day. It is finding some resistance at 184.5 after that big boy move up. The future, though, not putting on or not hitting, excuse me, the brakes at all. It's all gas, no brakes, blowing through that 19,300 and a fifth, and now looking to weasel its way into the 50-point level. Ultimately, though, that 77-point level, the high of the day. I'm still, I don't know. I'm just still a little suspicious of said market. We'll keep an eye on that. As Amazon moves, Meta's moving too, Katina, man. It's just not Amazon on its own. 472 just got touched there by Meta as that big boy V-shaped recovery continues to materialize on the Mag 7. We'll keep watching this. I'm seeing some top and tails. Oh boy, on the future right now. Do we get a rejection, or is this just a way to trap the shorts, baby? What's going on with said lights? Why are the house lights on? Oh baby, the house lights are on, Adair. It feels like the morning again.
I know, right? All of the lights. There's a while where we kept singing that every morning, and we were just all having in each other's heads. But yeah, right now, all of the lights for me are on the SPY because as Sharif said, well, brain, hello, wake up, good morning. We do have these lower highs here on, not lower highs, but a bit of a topping tail candle on the future. And I also am seeing a bit less of a topping tail candle, more of kind of this potential reversal here, this lower high on the SPY. We cannot reclaim that 547 level, which we claimed earlier, and which is also a bit of a pre-market level. So interesting look here for the S&P 500. I was initially interested in going short here just below 60s, then decided to cancel the order. Wasn't feeling as confident about it as I would like. Especially if you look at this recovery in the SPY, it's been wild, it's been crazy. That itsy bitsy spider just keeps climbing up that spout, to use a phrase Obi has used before when talking about the S&P 500 on this here show. So I think this is an interesting look here. But you know what else is interesting? If you want to look at the market, if you want to find out what news we have, we'll also do that. Wrong. Get involved in the chat. Join, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever ticker you like. But also, you should take a look at our sponsor, Benzinga Pro. Thank you very much to Benzinga Pro for their awesome support. Are you tired of being late to the trade? Are you always playing catch up in the market? Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. Also, because I saw someone asking about this, I put this in the chat. With regards, speaking of news, we do have the Zuck man himself, the Zuck train, as Sharif refers to him, and Justin Wong. Right. They will be talking at the SIGGRAPH conference, but not until 6 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Talking at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're going to have to wait and find out what the results of that, well, not results, but we'll have to find out how the market reacts to that as of tomorrow. I'm making it seem like they're part of the Olympics. I love it. It is the Olympics of earnings week, though, this week for sure. With we got Meta, we do have the Zuck train, choo-choo, coming into the station with its earnings report. We got Microsoft, we have Amazon, oh boy, so we've got, and then also Apple as well. So as Ryan Faluna referred to Apple on the market recap, Big Mama. So lots of massive earnings reports coming up here. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Meta is flying, says day trader. Oh yeah, Meta's flying. You had Amazon flying. Meta though, actually flying into a bit of an interesting area for me. So I want to pull it up. That area I see on my side chart is 472. What is the actual area? I want to wait till I have the real number if it loads. Okay, so we actually eclipsed it, but this 472 area is kind of interesting. Meta, do you want a range? Do you want to give me 467 to 472.50? Meta, do you want a range? I would be super cognizant about getting involved. We did have that nice spike in this with Amazon, so this could be a news-related thing, but we have a smaller spread here in Meta. That spread is tightening up. I like this as a range. I will wait to see what we do at 472. I would risk into 472.30s. This is a trade that does make me quake in my boots, but a scared trader is a deficient trader. If you see something you owe it to yourself to get involved. So Meta, I might be stepping into that Zuck train right now. Choo-choo, make room for me on its way to the downside. Small position, I would be very, very cautious. This is a trade that does make me nervous, but as we have a little bit of a breakdown here, I want to break in to Meta. Let me in, train. I got my ticket.
Nice. I like that. I'm looking at the exact same trade as you. 472.80, the high day on Meta. The previous candle went into 65. So, you know, obviously on a $471 name, it's essentially the same area. Let's see if we get that rejection. Topping tail, huge topping tail candle right now on the 5-minute chart. So there we go. We get that big move down. Let's see if we can get into the Zuck train. So we're short the Zuck train now. Let's see if we get bamboozled. We're short at 66s. So that is that's a bit of a tougher level to get there. I was looking for a little bit more or a bit of a better price. We'll see what we get there, and hopefully we don't get upset. Let's see if we can weasel our way down, showing 53s now on the ask, 40 on the ask. On the bid, the ask not dropping for whatever reason. Let's see if we can drop a little bit more. 42s now there, waiting for that print. It's not giving us the print as it's holding up above this level. So that is a little bit of trouble, and that pops right back up. So that's trouble here if we can continue to move up. So there was a buyer at the $0.50, and that's no good. Yeah, that's what happens with Meta. It's super spready. Sometimes you can't get the print, and now we're getting a bit of a pop back up. So I'm going to try to pack my patience on this trade. So we'll go like this, and then we'll look to cover. We'll just put it in our stop there on this one. Let's see what the shareage is on this one. Yeah, okay, so we're good to go there. And do we get the print yet? So the ask still at 65s, the bid at 43s now. The ask now is dropping to 59s, but it's just the bid isn't dropping, or sorry, the ask is not dropping far enough. So the spread will get you in trouble with this, but we're down back to 19.3 here on the future. So do we bounce off this 19.3 area, or is it just a quick wham bam thank you? And I looks like I will get stopped out of Meta here, dude, because let me go back. Where's my Meta screen? So I did get stopped out of Meta there. So big, yeah, not a great trade. We tried to take that at the $0.50, did not let us in, but it looks like it's still coming back down. So maybe we did get bamboozled a little bit here. I'm going to keep my eye on the future at 19.3 because I think that there might be a trade to be had at this level over here if we do bounce it there.
Yeah, I'm in a SPY short right now, but I think it's going to be pretty short-lived. With me, the pun's basically always intended. Basically, I like the whole dollar levels on the SPY, and also in Tesla. Like generally, if I'm going to book scalp, I don't know why, but I like to see what we do. I do know why. Whole dollar levels can be interesting. I like to see what we do at whole dollar levels. The SPY, we had that break below 546. We stayed below 546. I like the look. And also, on the 3-minute chart at least, and this is where I got a little bit bamboozled by myself, the 3-minute chart looks a lot more bearish than the 5, which is usually what I trade off of, but I need to switch this because I have the 3-minute for some reason on my chart on my side chart. So when I look at this, I'm like, wow, what a bearish look. We're below the 9 EMA. We've got a topping tail candle. Woohoo. Didn't know what that voice was. But this is a little bit less. Right now in the 5, it actually looks like we're bouncing here. I want to see, I don't like this way that we've kind of curled back up here. I want to see what we do here, if we can get back below, but I don't think we're going to. If we have any kind of bounce here, 546.10s, I'm going to have to exit the SPY, crawl my way out of the spider. I don't like this. I'm getting out. There we go. Not the trade of anyone's dream. Next time, Adara, make sure you're looking at both charts before you hop in on this trade. So it looks like we're kind of bouncing. This is not a long I want to get involved in right now, but just something to be aware of. I want to talk about that trade. Meta, I was not able to get filled. I was very frugal. I was like, I want my 472 199s, which was, in retrospect, not realistic. Alas, I was not able to get filled. It's all good, baby. You got to find some more trades, find some more opportunities, get ready to see what else this year market will have to give you. Now SPY coming back to 546s, but again, I want to be more patient there. Not the proudest of that last SPY trade, so it's all good there. Just keep waiting, keep looking, keep searching. EUM, I've been looking at a little bit, not extensively, but just an update for anyone looking at the Russell. I like that 222.22s earlier, and right now we're just below it. Let's see if we're able to have this pop off that previous area of support or on this 222 level. But right now, we're going to talk about something that will pop up every once in a while in charts. It's going to be island gaps. So let's, boat over to that island. Row your boat over to island gaps. Thank you, Sharif.
You can swim, you can float, you can do whatever you want. Just find your way into the island gap. Traders, today we delve into a less common but intriguing gap pattern that is known by the term island gap. This unique formation can offer valuable insights into potential market behavior. So let's get right to it and talk all about it. So what is an island gap? An island gap is essentially characterized by a gap in the price chart that's surrounded by trading on both sides, hence the term island, right? Essentially, it appears as an island of it appears as an island of open price bars isolated from the rest of the price action. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in a second. Here we are. We're pumping. We're moving up. We're moving up. Oh, all of a sudden, there's a catalyst overnight that helps shoot things up. But within like 5 different candles or 5 subsequent candles, we're all of a sudden gapping down. What happened? So we'll talk a little bit about what the sentiment is of the market when we typically see these island gaps. But let me tell you quickly, there are 2 types of island gaps. One is a reversal, one is a continuation. 9 times out of 10, they will be a reversal pattern. So you should have a bit of a bias when you see them that they will reverse, but they don't always do it that way. Here is one basically example. I mean, it gaps down and it fills the gap quickly, but look how quick the second gap on the side over here gets filled, and we continue to make new highs and actually break the high of the initial island gap. So sometimes it can be a little bamboozling, and we're going to talk about how to be able to spot whether or not they're continuation or reversal patterns. Here is one I wanted to show you guys because this is actually live on the Apple charts right now. So this is a bit of an island gap between, like, say, 232.5 and 237.5. We gapped up there aggressively overnight and then gapped right back down. Who remembers this move down back on the 12th, I believe, of July. So this is a live in living color gap, island gap on Apple. Obviously, not tradable at the moment, but could be tradable in the future if we do work our way back up there. So the formation of the island gap, super important. So to form an island gap, the 3 following conditions must be met. 1, a gap up or a gap down occurs, creating a space on the chart, obviously. Number 2, the price retraces to fill the initial gap, creating a second gap on the opposite side of the original gap. And then number 3, the price moves away from the filled gap, leaving it isolated like an island, okay? So that's what you should be looking for there. What is the significance, though, of these island gaps? What are they telling us about market sentiment? So island gaps can indicate a significant shift in the market sentiment or a significant shift in the underlying conditions in which the market is trading. They often signal a potential trend reversal or continuation depending on the accompanying price action. That's what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to talk about identifying reversal or continuation patterns for these island gaps. Now, we'll start with the reversal because most times it will be a reversal pattern. So initially, what you're looking for is a breakdown below the lower gap for an upward gap. So if we're moving up, you're looking for a breakdown below the lower gap for an upward gap or a breakout above the upper gap for a downward gap. So this works both ways. It works for the longs and works for the shorts, and often suggests a potential market reversal. You should also be looking for, if it's a reversal pattern, you should be looking for increased trading volume accompanying the breakout or the breakdown, which can strengthen the reversal signal. And you're looking at the RSI, you're looking at the MACD. Specifically here, what you're looking for is to see if there's MACD RSI price action divergence. What that means is the MACD, for example, may make lower highs, or the RSI may make lower highs, but the price action on the actual chart continues to make higher highs. In that case, you have a bearish divergence, and typically what you'll get is a reversal after that. So you got to keep one eye literally on the price action and the other eye on the stochastic or the oscillators. Now, how do you catch this as a continuation pattern? A continued move in the direction of the initial gap will suggest to you a possible trend continuation. So if you get that island gap to the high side and then you gap down, but then you fill it like the chart I just showed you, that's what we're talking about for continuation patterns, okay? And you're looking specifically here for increased trading volume accompanying the continuation through the gap fill to the high side. And you got to look at the RSI and the MACD or whatever other oscillator you want to use. Here, though, you're not looking for price action oscillator divergence. You're actually looking for oscillator price action convergence. So you want to see the MACD make higher highs if the price is making higher highs, as well as the RSI, or the opposite. If it's making lower highs and lower lows, you also want to see that on the oscillator as well. So how do you trade these island gaps? First, we'll talk about how to trade the continuation pattern, and then we'll talk about how to trade the reversal setup. So if an island gap is followed by a continuation of the previous trend, so in this case, let's call it a bull trend, your entry, you're going to consider entering a long position after a pullback to the upper gap for an uptrend, or a short position after the pullback to the lower gap for a downtrend. And I'll show you depicted on the chart in a second. Your stop loss for the continuation, you're going to place your stop below the lower gap for long positions or above the upper gap for short positions. And your profit targets here, a bit of a tougher ask, but you can use the measuring move to see how much the gapped up and what it's projected to print in the future. You can also use fib retracements or fib extensions to identify those. And if there's a clear chart pattern at the end of the gap, or the actual island gap itself is a chart pattern, you can look to that to kind of gauge entry. Reversal patterns. If an island gap is followed by a reversal of the previous trend, and I would submit to you most of them are, then you're going to be looking for your entry here by waiting for a clear break below the lower gap for a potential short, or a clear break of the upper gap for a potential long position. Your stop loss here, you're placing your stop order above the upper gap for the shorts and below the lower gap for the longs. And your profit targets, again, you're going to use fib extensions or retracements. You could also use a measured move, as well as if there is a chart pattern there that you can glean, look to see if that chart pattern allows you to project the move out of the break of it. So here's a look. Here's the island gap bullish reversal. You're going down, and then you gap down, but within 4 candles, whatever time frame it is, you're already filling that gap. So you're reversing that down move. So your entry would be on basically the high of the candle that fills the gap, and your stop would be right below that gap level. So you get in here, and your stop would go like this, and then you try to ride the trend. Conversely, for the bear signal, you're moving up, you're putting higher highs and higher lows. Boom, you gap up overnight, you get a 3-candle island gap. You want to get short because it gets filled. So what do? You enter the short on the top of the candle that fills the gap, and then you put your stop below the area where the gap gets filled. So if the gap gets filled, you're zigging and zagging, and the trade is no longer valid. So you just got to keep that in mind. Trading these reversal gaps, a little bit different than trading the continuation one. Hope everybody prints on that, Adair.
Yeah, it's interesting too that there are the different types of island gaps. Looking for an island gap. Yeah, shout out there to island gaps. And shout out as always to Sharif to putting out the lesson there. And I like that you gave us an in the wide gapple and apple.
You forgot to shout out the Island Boys.
You got to shout out the Island Boys. How dare we?
Are you a fan of the Island Boys, Adair?
Sounds familiar. I don't know.
The face. You don't know who they are?
It sounds familiar. I don't know.
It's like there were 2 twins. Okay. They had like super spiky blonde hair, and they kept singing that Island Boys.
I know the song. Yeah. I didn't know that was what they were.
Yeah, and they were like, they're twins with like dimed out, or what is it called, iced out grill.
Because I do know the song. Okay, that's interesting. I have to look them up because I've heard that song. TSLA trying to bounce here off 231.50. Not anything island related, but it is just happening. It's trying to ride that Cybertruck there up that island. I don't know. Good look here for TSLA. Microsoft, I find every time I see something, that thing moves before I can do anything. I mentioned it like that 428 bounce. I'm like, let's try to get involved. Microsoft's like, way far away from that for now. So definitely had to leave that behind. I want to talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA 113 has been interesting. I shorted this and I fumbled the ball with the rest of the position. I got involved here around 113s, got out like 2/3 of this, 20 pennies in the money, all good. Then I add, because you're making lower highs, then we flip it. I'm like, Adara, get out, didn't get out, ended up getting out here around like, I think just above 313.10, 313.15. So not 113. So not exactly how I wanted to execute the trade. Probably ended up slightly flat on it. So should not have added, but it's all good there. You want to learn, you want to grow. And it's like, Adara, if you're seeing stuff in the book you don't love, wait, don't add to the position. So let's wait and see here. Swagger 101, or Swagger 01 saying, what about AMD? So let's take a look at AMD. Thank you for reminding me. And it's like, if you want to know what Sean and Neil, though, have to say about AMD, there's a way you can find out. Vote. Get in that chat. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it is AMD. Maybe it's AMC. I don't know. Maybe it's Gumme. Maybe it's Apple. Maybe it's the market. Whatever you want to know about, get in that chat and vote right now. AMD, there's a couple of interesting levels for me. AMD is on a chart that's going to make me push back my chair. It's not one that's going to be super excited right now. However, there is one level I do not dislike. And it's not perfect. It's not going to come every time, but 141. Look at this. Like the old rum band or the JID song named after the old rum band. Look at this base here. We bounce off 141 a couple times. We get up here to 144s. Then we come back down. Look where we bounce. 141. Look a little bit lower, mind you, but we do bounce at 141. Then we reject VWAP. Actually, I guess sort of another level. Reject VWAP around 142.20, but I am stretching a little bit. If a level isn't there, don't worry about it. That being said, we come back, make a lower low, then we bounce once again at 141. So I think if there was a level in AMD, the closest I'm seeing is 141, maybe 142.20, but this chart is not like anything that's making me super enthused to like get out of bed, push back your chair for anything, right? It exists. It's happening. 141 though, bouncing here in confluence with with the 90 MA and those previous bounces is not bad. Yeah, shout out to you, Dirt Poor. I do have a lot of fun here being on this show. The markets really excite me. What can I say? Best of times. Gator Man mentioning a chart I haven't looked at in quite some time. SoFi earnings July 30th. Let's make money.
I just heard the Katina man talking about it right now.
That is amazing. Yeah. So SoFi, how are you looking? No fi? Yes fi? Let's find out. Shout out to Anthony Noto, the CEO of SoFi. I just feel like I see him talking on CNBC.
I just like his name.
A lot. Pardon?
I just like his name.
Right?
Noto.
It has power. There's power to it.
Hello, Noto. Remember that Hello Moto?
Yeah.
Hello,
I do remember that. That I do remember. So I get like not much like AMD. There's a couple levels that are kind of meh there, but there's nothing like that is screaming at me. Nothing to push back my chair over. Bit of a base here at 748. We reject a couple times at 748. Then we quadunk. We actually, okay, another sort of level here at 740s. We bounce, I guess 739s. Have a couple wicks into 739. Push lower, lower highs, lower lows. Trying to make a higher low here though at 727s, but SoFi right now for me would be a no-fi. We're gonna have to wait and see what it does on its earnings tomorrow alongside its pal PayPal, which is also another finance-related names. They're also gonna be reporting earnings tomorrow. So let's take a look at PYPL as well here. Lift us all, Meta, says Ricky Peters. Yeah, I mean, Meta's trying to lift somebody. Happy I wasn't able to get into that short. I want to show out those Sharif for quickly excreting yourself from that short because that Meta was a wild beast.
The hell out
it
of
acted
there.
like it wanted to short and then it did not care.
Yeah.
PayPal, you got to push back because look at this, 58.80. We have this pretty massive area of resistance, lower high. We climb back. We get to 55.80. Make a lower high, then we break out. So shout out to PayPal. To be clear, the breakout was nothing major. We get to like 58.95. It's a cool 15-cent breakout. But PayPal could be interesting for me here. Look where we're coming back now, this 55.80. Not one I would trade today. Volume kind of meh, but PayPal could be paying you and your pals if you're looking to trade that one tomorrow during earnings. Something I will keep an eye on. Gatekeeper saying, but Adara, Wi-Fi. Oh, good SoFi Wi-Fi pun. Shout out to Gatekeeper. Great look here for you. And
apparently Wi-Fi doesn't mean anything. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's actually true. It was on Jeopardy. Yeah. So,
Interesting.
I mean, if it's Jeopardy, Adara.
I trust Alex Trebek, RIP, and co.
Did you like Mayim Bialik?
I haven't seen, I know she was on your favorite show.
Yes, yes.
I haven't seen much of her as a Jeopardy host.
Do you know that she's an actual neuroscientist, IRL?
I did know that.
And she was on Blossom.
Yeah.
She did her thing in the 90s, stepped away from acting, got a PhD
And then
in
she
neuroscience. No
blossomed,
big
yeah.
deal. There you go. And so she was actually helping them with the writing of Derek because she had this science background. And
That was a lot of the CSI cast as well. A lot of the people playing the lab rats, as they're called in CSI, they were actually science people. Also, fun.
Helps with the writing.
Right? It does help. It gives you perspective.
Yeah.
Interesting Wi-Fi story as well. I have a friend whose grandparents, I have a friend whose friend's grandparents apparently saw the free Wi-Fi sign at McDonald's. This is back in 2013, and they asked for free Wi-Fi. Which is just
They didn't know what that was, but they wanted it. It was free,
and they wanted it.
And
so shout out to my friend's grandparents there with the free Wi-Fi. Yeah, right. PayPal continuing to hang out of this 58.80. Not one all trade. Microsoft a bit rangy.
Everyone's saying it means wireless fidelity. Maybe I'm wrong. I swear it's Wi-Fi. I swear it was on Jeopardy. Everyone's saying it's wireless fidelity, and they're probably right, but I'm just regurgitating what I heard on Jeopardy. All right, so I got long on Apple 218.45. I was able to take everything out at 77s. This is like the best trade that I've had all day. I haven't traded well today. That's now two, I guess, positive trades in a row on Apple. It's holding the 10 exponential on the 5. It had really ugly topping tail candles, which really had me questioning my life's choices, but quite frankly, it held a very key area of technical support. It was very directional. So if you wanted to see it hold up, it had to be at that first moving average, which was essentially the 10, the green line right there. As you can see, the solid green line, not the dotted one. That's a pivot point. So AAPL looking to weasel its way back up. I've also been seeing this gnarly range on NVIDIA 113.50. Well, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's been putting in higher lows, so I'm a little concerned to taking this because you feel like the top might come off at any moment here with this 113.5, flat top possible break. Now, this 113.5 had a whole bunch of, support to increase its importance as a level. Initially, it was resistance, though. Look at all these bottoming tail candles right there, right at the open, all bouncing off 113.50. We also had a little bit of a consolidation area low there in the pre. So 113.50, an important level on NVDA, at least on the day. But the future is maintaining its upward trajectory. I can say that, I promise. So we'll, if you really do believe in the direction of the future here, then entering short on NVDA might be a little bit tough, and it's now breaking through that high. But I still think, we could get something on this. So I'm just watching it to see if it breaks directionally, and it looks like it is getting some support now. It behooves us to look at the book to see if there are any bids moving up here bigly with this name to see if it could support a bit of a down move here. And we're definitely putting in higher highs and higher lows on NVIDIA, at least locally here, looking to break that 113.60. Still hasn't done that right now, but it's a bit of a, I would say 113 to the low side, maybe, well, it really is 112.80 to the low side. That was before this range got broken at 113.50. Now it's all the way up into 60s. We'll see if it can get directional here. It looks like it is. NVIDIA's breaking out through this range. So the next level I'm looking at is the volume weighted average price at 114 level. So if we continue to move up here, and it looks like we are, because the future is holding above 19.3. It's not flying up, the future, but if the future stays above 19.3, you think NVIDIA is going to remain above this level right here. So good strength on NVDA coming into that 114 VWAP area. There is price action resistance for whatever reason at 114.40, 114.50. That takes us back to this consolidation area over here from around 10.15 to the big boy Huadunk at 10.50. So right now, keeping an eye on the Mag 7. Also, Meta put in a gnarly looking top and tail. Ooh. But it was followed by not a Huadunking candle. I don't know if that's English, like all the double negatives there. But yeah, look at I was looking at this candle. I'm like, okay, this thing is going to flush now. And it found all sorts of support. It really didn't tank. It didn't even come down into the bottom of the top of this resistance candle here at 472 2/3. As Adara mentioned, today it will be a sit down between the Zuck train and the Monster CEO. Jensen Huang and Mark Zuckerberg are going to sit down together. What is it going to be, a fireside chat?
Fireside chat.
Fireside. They're going to sit down near the fire in the middle of summer. Makes pure sense, right? I would have rather an air-conditioned chat. I would have been good with an air-conditioned chat, Adair. I'm just saying, you know, air conditioning is, important this time of the year. But anyway, yeah, so keep your eye on NVDA, keep your eye on Meta. Obviously, Meta's been one of the biggest buyers of Jensen's products. They were doing it initially to recommend videos on Reel. We know how good that is. I think Reels is a flaming, relative to TikTok. The suggestions are just absolute poop.
Fair.
That's just my opinion.
Some of the recommendations are weird.
I don't like the recommendations, and I don't like how it understands me. TikTok, though, let's not get there. You know how I feel about TikTok.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though. So they were initially using these GPUs to make recommendations for Reels. Obviously now looking for AI, their use of Llama, as well as a metaverse. We saw how much Meta is losing in the metaverse, about $40 billion in the last 2 or 3 years or something like that. So we'll keep tabs on that. Great day today though for the Mag 7. We're covering a little bit off Friday's weakness there.
Yeah. Speaking of recovery, I don't know, there's no transition. I took Tesla short here. I want to explain why, because I'm sure it looks a little bit bamboozling. This is based on the book. I watched, and I don't know, I've talked about this a little bit, Tesla at this 20-cent level, or the fifth of a dollar, as Sharif will sometimes say. Tesla's been kind of interesting at this level for me over the last few weeks. And what I've noticed specifically for Tesla today, we'll get to a new whole dollar level, say in this case, 232. Yes, I know I scalped 7 pennies out of it. It's whatever. I'm okay with that. Clearly it broke lower, but basically my thesis with Tesla was we get to a new whole dollar level, we hold it, we get into 20s, we try to break above 20s, we can't break above 20s, then we start flipping from resistance support at 20s, and then we break lower. I don't know why Tesla's doing that. It doesn't matter why Tesla's doing that. Tesla doesn't care about my feelings. All I know is that Tesla's doing it on the book. So I decided to respect that. We get into 20s, we get back below 20s. I took it short 232s. I did not have enough confidence in the trade, clearly. I got out at 90, so fun, 10 pennies, if that. But you know what? I took the trade, took it with decent size, was confident about at least that much of a move. The thing with Tesla to remember as well is it is still an uptrend, which was also part of why I didn't want to overstay my welcome. Bless you. So that was something, that happened here. This was my Tesla trade. That is what occurred. If Tesla bounced here of 80s, because also look at this 80s level here on the 5 minute. This is nuts. We wick above it, not once, but twice. We get a little bit of a bearish look, then we get a big old green candle, roar, or clump, 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 say the bulls. As Sean was saying, we got that bull clopping in there. Then we get a bearish candle here. So Tesla being a deeply bamboozling name, I stand by the trade, should add a little bit more confidence, but it's all good. Confidence comes with time, it comes with practice, it comes with effort, and it comes with work. And every trade I make, I hope to gain a little bit more confidence so that I can, continue to hopefully grow as a trader. Like I said, I'm always very grateful to be sitting on this floor with everybody to be a part of this community. I'm going to stop my Oscar speech over a trade that was a cool 10 pennies or less. But the point I'm trying to make is with each trade, you want to grow and learn. And so that's why, something I'm trying to do there. I love that long, though, on the TQs, because I don't think someone who's in it, he made a very Muppetish face.
Well, I'm worried.
There.
I don't have a read on the market,
That's
and
fair.
I'm I can accept that when I do and when I don't. So, when you don't, you're always a little worried when you get into positions. At least I am.
That's
so
fair. I agree.
we're long at 48. We're looking for a 19.3 hold. It did bottoming tail, did catch a bid super quick. So we're going to put an out on this one just to cover our what end. So the stop is in place. Let's see if it holds 19.3. There is some weakness right now on some names. Meta finding a bit of a bottom on this bottoming tail or topping tail. Hammer inverse. I'll get it. I swear I'll get it. This hammer candle over here looks like it dipped into that 472-ish area, got bought up quite aggressively, right back into 473. Wow, that was super quick. Bottoming tail there on MET. Let's see how our future position is doing. All right, not great. Well, we're not out of the money at least, but not really flying to the high side here. Let's see if we can hold generally that 19.3 on the NQ September contract and weasel back up on the TQQs. I'm also keeping an eye on META because this bottoming tail candle right into 472 and change, got bought up quite aggressively. So if that's the case, well, then Meta is really bullish here. And it's single-handedly, I think, pushing this future area up. All right, we'll wet our beak there on the future. So it was the right call, I guess, after all. We'll see if we can get a bit more here. Let's see if we can pamp up a little bit more, maybe into 19,350. But if I had to guess, we're still probably in this range that we've been in on the future since around 12:15. Right now, it's 5 to 1. So we've been in it for almost 45 minutes over here on this range. This range is about 300 points to the downside. The top side here, you could say probably around 30 points, even though the wicks go above 40. The closing prints, though, south of that level. So we'll keep an eye on the future. I'm also interested on AAPL because it's been weaseling its way up into 219, hasn't taken it quite yet. But look at all these umpteen amount of 10 exponential holds. Oh, baby. I mean, if you're not even going down into the 20, doesn't it behoove you to break 219? Let's go, Apple. Get real. So we'll keep watching that. We'll see if this one flips a switch or whether or not we can continue to print to the high side on this one. We're nicely in the money on the future, looking for that bigger move. Let's see if we can get something out at 77s. I'm just going to go ahead and hang out with a resting order at 77s to see if we can wet our beak in and around there. We're talking about 66.77. That would probably require maybe a high day touch on the actual NQ September contract. We're at that quarter point level right now as I look on the side screen. So good move back, I guess, into positive territory for all the Mag 7 names. Nobody left in red territory right now, save and except for NFLX. And I don't include that in the Mag 7, but that's just my choice. It used to be part of FANG, so no disrespect. But it's only done like 1 million shares on the day, bro. Like, that's just not enough to get things going. So that's the only one that's actually negative right now. Everything else in Mag 7 world, positive, and possibly headed to the higher side. All right, let's see if we can weasel our way up a little bit higher here. I'm seeing Apple at the local high, but it rejected 219, and Tesla's waking up, Katina Man and Adair. So you guys have been trading a storm up on Tesla, looking like it's working back, guys, into that 233 area, high day. The Katina Man was long 227. I mean, that's 228. I mean, that's still quite ridiculous, bro. I'm not even going to repeat that. Because he said it's only $7. And like, I don't want people thinking in the chat that $7 is not good. I say that, maybe they get the wrong idea, Katina Man, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. How long have they been watching? He said. Yeah, they want no, but maybe they're new, Katina Man, no big deal. 233 on the way. There is TSLA. Great strength on this name. Good recovery as Morgan Stanley adding them back into their, what is it called again, Adair?
Their top picks list.
Top picks list. And that has everybody, I guess, punching long. So we'll hang out in this future trade as we continue to zig and zag above 19.3.
Also zigging and zagging is my pal NVDA. NVIDIA, if you don't launch the 30s, I don't get to say it in your trades, so watch out. Yeah, I'm getting out of NVIDIA. NVIDIA, let me out. Thank you. What did I do here in NVIDIA? Why did I do NVIDIA? Let me talk about it. We were bouncing off 40s. For a while, I was like, cool, NVIDIA, do your thing 21. Dope. Why did I like 40s? I'll tell you why I like 40s. Look at this. Look at this. I've been talking about this 40s level all day. We had that massive base at 40s. Then we reject off 40s a couple times. Come down, swoop below, pop above 40s. Look where we were trying to bounce at, and also the 90 MA, 40s. Look where we couldn't bounce anymore. Jeez. So I left. Got involved at 40s, got out around 25s. I saw the decisive break below 30s, was like, bye, NVIDIA. Did not work out. Happy I tried it, though, because you miss 100% of the trades you don't make. If you have confidence in the trade, you owe it to yourself to take it. So that's what we do here on. That's funny. It was pretty funny. I love when you yawn mid. Can't help it. I don't mean to laugh. But no, yeah, it's good. I know you're good with that. Thank you. I am. I do get a kick out of it myself. So, so shout out to NVIDIA. Well, actually, you don't get a shout out NVIDIA because that was not a successful trade. But I want to shout out you for your short future's looking bright over here from my pal Sharif. We don't have an auction today at 1, just to let everyone know for housekeeping. No auction today at 1. The only number we had was the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. Came in a bit lower than the previous number, negative 17.5, versus previous print of negative 15.5. So good times. with regards to that. NVIDIA, if you want to bounce off 20s, maybe, but I don't really have a level on you. Like I said, I have a new playbook for trading after 1, and one of the key points is don't do it unless I'm obsessed. And so that NVIDIA trade was a clear example. So I'm going to wait and see. I'm happy with the trading I've done so far today, and I don't want to be messing around with that just because I feel like taking trades to take trades. If my levels come in, cool. There's another name I'm looking at too that I'm a little hesitant to trade because I haven't traded it all day, and oh boy, it's Amazon.
Oh boy.
That should have been a cue in and of itself. But why do I like Amazon? Look at this bull flag. Mwah. This one's on the way, so to the upside. We had that move up. Look, we're bouncing off the 90 MA every single time. You want to give me 184 bounce Amazon? The reason I'm hesitant to take this is because when I take a trade that I haven't looked long enough at the levels of Microsoft earlier today, I find it goes a little bit more awry, so I want to be cognizant of that. I want to watch, I want to wait. I'm going to go take a little bit of a walk, and I will be back, and hopefully these markets will be ready for me. Amazon, I see you. But what are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at the future. We're printing on that. So I did get back there at the $0.50 to add for a possible hold. We'll see if this one can hold that 19,300 area on the NQ September contract. I'm trading the actual triple Qs. I mean, I don't have much left in this trade. I'm looking to see if it holds up at 19.3. I see Meta coming down into the 10 exponential now. So Amazon, sorry, not Amazon. Well, yeah, actually Amazon and Microsoft both touched the 10 exponential. Tesla is really the only one that's really directional. And Apple is also hanging out near highs at that 218 high 80s. But you're getting a bit of a retracement on some of the names, NVIDIA included. And that's having, I guess, a depressing effect on the NQ at the moment. So we'll see if it gives way at 19.3. If it does, I'll get out of this one, but I'm looking to see if these ones at the 10 exponential can hold up. So right back above the $0.50. It behooves us to load up Tesla though, because we were talking up a storm about how this is the only directional one. And here we are at 233. Oh baby, Tesla's breaking 233 and possibly headed into HOD at 234.25. And this one, it doesn't take all that long to move this one. It could be at the high a day in a matter of minutes. We'll have to wait and see, but that is a great recovery off that, I guess, I don't know, 50 exponential dip. I mean, I don't even feel it did hold up at the 50. It breached the 50 on the 5. It held 227. For whatever reason, not a level that I had an eye on, and you had a double bottom there, and then it kind of defended that 227 2/3, and Tesla is pamping on the way up, again added to that Morgan Stanley list. I keep forgetting the name of it, and Dara's no longer here, so I can't ask her. It's favorite ideas list or something like that, and it's having, I guess, a bullish effect on the future, but you've got some of these other ones that are retracing, like NVIDIA and Meta, which are kind of keeping the future a little bit lower here, so I've been waiting, packing my patience at 57s on, or not 50s, at 60s on the T triple Qs, and I haven't been able to get printed as it's been zigging and zagging a little bit above, a little bit below. We'll try to pack our patience. There we go. Now we get the fill on that reload. Let's see if we can ride a little bit higher. I'm still waiting with my other order up at 777s over here, or 777s, excuse me. It's not an airplane, Sharif, calm down. So we'll see if we can weasel our way up there. Coffee trader, Tesla, test old trend if you really look at it. All right, well, that's a good observation on your part. Let's have a look to see if you're accurate on this one. What time frame are you looking at it, coffee trader? Because I'll just look at the 15 over here, see if this was an area top. So, I mean, look at these 2 days, the 25th and the 26th. They all had very similar area tops at 226. We don't come down into 226 today, so it's a bit of a bamboozler. This 227-ish area. Well, where is that area? I guess maybe a pre-market or the IB high on the 24th. That's not something I would have charted. That's not something I would have been alive to. I wouldn't have selected that, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I would have had eyes on that. That's not accurate. So yeah, maybe you're accurate on that in the sense that it held that level from a few days or from early last week, but that isn't the level that I would have charted. So I'm packing my patience right now, see if we can weasel up a little bit higher on the future. Reg says Longevron. Let's have a look at LGVN, one of the ones that I would love to see, flourish and do well if what they're actually developing is the real deal, Ram. Because Alzheimer's does sadly run in my family, and don't want to see that smoke. Yeah, you too, huh?
We don't want that smoke.
Yeah, no, I don't want any of that smoke, Adira. LGVN pumping up there 4 a.m. overnight on that headline. The headline is that they did better. Here it is. Longeveron shares rise 14% at the highs, not right now, after positive trial results for their Lomacel B, which we know obviously is for the treatment of mild Alzheimer's. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, I'm one of those ones that will pound the desk on it, but right now it's not the best look as it does break down below the volume weighted average price. And yeah, kind of almost at those, if I was Adara, I'd go like this.
Push back your chair? So would I.
Rammer said it on a fall. Mark and Randy built this nice little rail over here, Ram, because there are stupid people like me that would have fell. Here's what I'm looking at, Ram, though. This 350 area, that was a consolidation error, the high, essentially, on Friday, and now we're holding that exact top. So we gap up above it, and now resistance becomes support, at least momentarily, as it weasels its way into the 20 exponential on the 5. That's at 371. Let's see if it can make its way back up into 4 and 405, where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. So this is a good look, not right now, though, on Longeveron, but definitely bigger picture, good look there. The Fuge still zigging and zagging. Nothing doing over here. We still haven't got our double 7 prints, but we de-risked obviously at 60. It's still above 13,300. But I remember when it did this on Friday, and the one he is the Canobe was looking for the mean reversion, and he was right and I was wrong because it absolutely tanked back down below. What was it, Adara, that level? Oh, it was this level right here. It was 19.3, Adara, because that came in bigly there at 140 right before the end of the show. This is the level I'm talking about right here. We were below 19.3. Now we're above 19.3. So it's a little bit of a different picture, Sharif. We were doing the dance with absolutely no shorts or pants at this 19.3 level, but from the south side. And then the selling came in and we big boy huadunked off 19.3 generally. And then we found support at VWAP at 19.150. But today we're doing said consolidation, but from the north side of 19.3, not the south side. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what we get, but I'm not taking out my long on the T. Triple Q's Adara. Sorry, I'm getting excited.
I like it. You should be excited. I like what it's doing, a little bit of a range. I love it. And shout out to you. Kyle Burdett wants someone to say big. So shout out to Big Spile Burdett with the $2 super chat. Do you also want to say it?
Hello, Big Spile.
Oh,
how are you?
Sharif's not going to give you the big, but I will. That's okay. Thank you so much to Big Spile for the $2 super chat. That actually is a great transition into the chart I already have up and want to talk about. If you guessed it was the SPY, you'd be correct. I like what Ricky Peters had to say here. I actually already had the chart up. I was looking for myself. Then I see Ricky Peters, bless you, saying any chance we look at the SPY and try to technically analyze the flat consolidation pattern? I can try here. One level, I actually drew this earlier, that I think is really interesting, and that's why I was kicking myself because I went short here, was look where we ended up finding a little bit of a bounce after falling down a little bit here on the SPY. So this 546 level, it's a whole dollar level, which is always going to be a little bit fascinating to me on any pattern, even if it is an ETF. But we're like off the market. But what's interesting too is this level kind of came in a couple times earlier. We had a bit of a wick above and then rejected here right before we open, right at 9:30. We come and do this again at 9:45. Wick even higher here up into that pre-market area of that 540, what was this, 546.50? Come back down. Pop higher, come back, and then below, we try 546 again. Can we do it? Nope, wick above. Then start a nice descending channel here, lower highs, lower lows. Flip, flop, flip, flop, flip, flop. Then we come back up, make a nice pop up here, have no issue clearing this level, but then we come back, and this is where we have that nice bounce of 546. Now, though, and this is what's really interesting to me, and why I have my whole preamble, is now 546 is starting to look like a bit of a bottom of a potential bull flag. We had this nice move up here from 543 all the way up into 546.80s, with 546 being the start of this kind of pennant pattern here. I think if we continue to bounce here off the 9 EMA, I think that'd be a nice look. If we can pop above, decisively above this 540, 660, try to make a bit of a bull flag. I think that would be a great look here for the SPY. On the flip side of that, if we break below 546, I would be looking out below, and for myself, that's the level I'd be looking at for a short. What I'd like to see is break decisively below 546, even maybe below this area we wicked into a couple times, 546, 545.85s. We break below that decisively with a viciousness, with an aggression. That's what I want to see. And also, there's something here too. I want to shout out, because we had Sean here in the chat saying, in my opinion, time should not affect your trading. It's about the levels in the movement. I agree. And the reason I bring up my 1 p.m. trading rules is because I found for myself, I was unable to, at least in my opinion, correctly read the moves for whatever reason after 1 p.m. And I noticed, especially, I've been taking the trading really seriously, trying to step my game up, especially since going live. One thing I would notice when I was doing my reflection, when I was doing my journals, is that I would not be trading very well after 1 p.m. I'd give up any gains I made in the morning and then some. So I basically for me, it was how do you modify that? If you know for whatever reason this is an issue you're having, what changes do you make to implement that? And that's why I started my 1 p.m. trading rules, because I think trading should be entirely about levels and movement. So if there's any ways, I guess I can mitigate that to make myself better able to see the levels of movement, that's what I found those rules help to do. So I do want to shout that out. That is why I have my whole 1 p.m. trading rule, because I do totally agree with what Sean has to say about the levels and the movement should be key. And so if I can take out that factor of bias, which for myself is my inability to trade after 1, if I can change, if I have a different approach, if I have a different strategy or playbook, I found that to be helpful. And I try to view that as the same way as anyone would view, if you're short biased, if you're long biased, you have to work with that. If I am tired biased after 1 p.m., that's something I want to use not as an excuse, but as something I'm aware of and something to turn into my secret weapon. And so I found the trading after 1 p.m. improved after I implemented that. That I just wanted to address. That's why I have that rule. So shout out again to Sean. That's just, I guess, my way of trying to make my trading more about my levels and the movement, because that is ultimately what should matter. Whether you're trading here with the midday with us or you're trading with the big kahunas in the morning and the afternoon. Speaking of the big kahunas, in our new audience segment brought to you by Real Trading, if you want to hear what they have to say about any stock that you're looking at, that you're eyeing, you're like, what do I think about this one ahead of earnings? What do you think about this one after earnings? Put that ticker in that chat. AAPL, GOGL, TSLA, SPY, EWIM, whatever ticker you want to talk about, go in the chat, ! Dwayne space $, whatever ticker that is. We're going to do that lesson soon. But right now, I want to hear from Sharif. How is your trade?
I got into Meta because it's been holding the 10 exponential on the 5. Hopefully I don't get stopped out, but it's a bit of a tougher trade. I'm 0 for 1 on Meta on the day. This is the bad trade over here. We'll see what we get, and we will not get upset. No matter what. Not even if I get shut down, I still won't get upset. But I'm going to continue to watch now. I'm in the money on the future, but I'm still waiting for that 777s to come in. And what does that mean if I'm still waiting for it? That means we're still in consolidative mode. We zig a little bit below 50, a little bit above 60. Here we go, 70s coming in. Well, that's not a bad look. Let's see if we can weasel our way through 70 here and print at 77s. We're about 10 pennies from that. So got to pack said patience right now, because that trade ain't coming in. The other trade that's been going on for a little bit of time right now, and it has been this 219 top on AAPL. Now, I'm not going to be quick to want to short this monster, but there is a bit of resistance right here. Here's the book, 219. There's only 36 lots, dude, but there's a bit of a hidden seller there because we did reject off 219 with no size. So iceberg likely at 219. How big? You're going to have to keep your eye on the tape to gauge the size that's printing at the moment, because you're not going to see that on the book right now. The tape, ain't nobody can hide from the tape, baby. Well, there it goes. 219 broke. Big boy size propelling this one forward. The dead one's on the way up, baby. And it just broke 219. 219.30 is the high of the day. So we're still not there yet. Go Meta. All right, so we get the print on Meta nicely here. About, where are we here? Almost 40 pennies in the money on Meta. Let's see if we can weasel our way some more profits. I wouldn't mind a 473.5, 473.25 touch. We're 50 pennies in the money on Meta. I'll get it right, guys. I'm sorry. I'm kind of slow today. So we'll see if we can get something maybe around, let's just go 27s, because what's life without whimsy, Adara? Nice move there. Tesla breaking up. Tesla's almost at high days. All right, the winds of change have been coming in on said future. So Meta moving, Amazon moving, Goggles moving, the future's up. Nvidia's dead money today. What the hell is Nvidia doing? Tesla's moving up. Apple's moving up. Amazon is still about 25 pennies off the high. We printed that high right at the IB high, 184.75. We're printing 50s now. So who can complain about that move on AMZN, especially if you had a trade right at that 183 area, a bit of a consolidation area there. So keeping an eye on the future, keeping an eye on Meta. And I did wet my beak. Oh, baby, we got double sevens, Adara. There it is. So we move up on the future, and we're moving up, but, well, we're still rejecting 19,350. So we'll have to see if we can work. I was going to say weasel, but I use a different word. Work our way through that level. AAPL rejecting 219.30, coming back into 219. Interesting look here on the dead one, Apple. Where is it? There we go. Let's see now if it uses 219 as a level of support. It certainly used it as resistance earlier, not necessarily rejecting off it, but not really able to break through it, hanging out around 219. Stan O says SEFV is strong. I don't wonder if
maybe it's a serve typo because the R and the F are right.
I'm assuming, yeah, he's got to mean serve because remember what Scott H was showing us, and there it is. High a day, SERV, multi-day play. This thing's been on our radar. Derek can vouch this for a while now. We've been keeping an eye on this. Good look right now on SERV as it breaks through high 1740 right now, the high a day. Let's look at the 30-minute to see exactly where the said resistance. No, nothing locally here. So this is all higher highs, higher lows. Every day we move up a little bit higher on SERV. What's the daily chart look like? Okay, so I guess this was IPO day back on March 11th. So we opened up at 23 bucks. That's really the only level that we ever have higher than where we are right now. That IPO opening March 11th, $23. Ended up closing on that day, though, at $5.33. So, yeah, it was not met well by investors there. Adair.
Yeah, before we do the lesson, quickly, I was talking because I gave my SPY analysis on the 5-minute chart there for Ricky Peters, and then Big Smile said he's not interested in the SPY until we see like a 542 to 537 area. And I said, yeah, like, no, that makes sense. Wait till it gets a little bit lower. It's a bit consolidative. And then he said, go to the 30-minute chart on a multi-day basis and see what I mean. I totally agree. Shout out to Kyle Burdett. If you see here, and I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but this 542 was a bit of an area, as you could see here a couple times on this 30-minute. We kind of closed near there. If you're going back to what day is this? This was a day. This was the 24th. This was last Wednesday. Then we had a bit of a chop and churn around here. If you're going early on Thursday, and then we close around 537s. Well, sorry, 538s, but we wick down into 537. So that's an interesting look as well. To come back to open around 542 on the Friday. So I really want to shout out Big Smile Burdett. I don't know if I'm reading these levels correctly, but I do. I think I pick up what you're putting down here on the SPY with regards to that 542, 537 level. Something I'm seeing on the SPY, though, for myself on the 30-minute are slightly higher lows and a flat top around 547. If we get to this 547 again today, I might be interested in a bit of a long. I say might. I want to wait. I want to see. But yeah, what I think is great is in this community, we have so many different people looking at different styles. And I think that's one thing I really wanted to shout out to Big Smile. That was a rhyme. Don't know if it was supposed to be, but it was. And it happened. And I'm happy with it.
Love it.
Let's talk as well, though, about island gaps.
Island gaps.
Island gaps. No trader is an island. And sometimes gaps are an island. Serve is, what was that stock called?
Which one?
SERV. Someone was asking what the name of this company was.
Serve Robotics.
Serve Robotics. Yeah, they were an NVIDIA investment. NVIDIA invested in them. That's what their whole deal was for Serve Robotics. I remember what that catalyst was. That was a couple weeks ago, I believe. That was what SERV was. Thank you. Yeah, thank you to the people in the chat helping out with that as well. But so what is an island gap?
Sorry, Adair, I'm sorry.
Island gap.
I can't stop.
So an island gap is characterized by a gap in the price chart that is surrounded by trading on both sides. It's going to look like an island gap of the opening price bars isolated from the rest of the price action. He's pleased with the punch that I sang there. He's pleased with his island punch. He's pleased with his Hawaiian punch.
Oh, yes. Well done, Adara. Well done, Adara.
Thank you. I love the support here on this desk.
Of course.
With the gaps. So here you go. So you've got This is like one example of an island gap as a reversal. You have your pattern, la-di-da. Higher lows, we actually look like we're in a flat top break. And we kind of do. We get our island gap, then we come up here, chop and churn. Then we gap back down, and the price reverses. We make a lower low. That trend, where did it go? It's gone now. We had an island gap reversal. And here's a bearish reversal as well for this island gap. We have our uptrend, then we gap up. We end this gap by gapping back down and become lower. Couple different ways these island gaps can manifest. Here's one island gap reversal here as well on Apple. This is a real live example in the wild. We had, of course, this nice push to the upside on Apple at WWDC, which was a wonderful, wild time for Apple. Have this uptrend. Then we have this island gap up to 235, 237, that area. When that gap ends, Apple's uptrend comes to its own end. The trend is no longer your friend based on that island gap there. So thank you to Sheree for bringing us that in the wild example, because we love in the wild examples here on Trader TV Live.
Yes, ma'am.
How do these island gaps form? Is it like a Galapagos island? Is it like Stonehenge? How do these islands form? Well, to form an island gap, the following conditions must be met. You want a gap up or down that creates space on the chart.
Is there you got to put me, I'm going to have to put dodo birds on the thing next time. Like, come on, Galapagos, dodo birds,
yeah, right?
Charles Darwin. Come on, the dodo bird.
The dodo.
Come on, let's go, baby.
Yeah, the dodo might be extinct, but island gaps are certainly not, because you can see them on the wild. We just saw one recently here in Apple. So how are they formed? Well, you've got a gap up or gap down, creating space. I love this back and forth. It's my favorite. Like, I live for this. I live for verbal sparring. So you got a gap up or gap down occurring, which creates space on the chart. Then you have the price retracing to fill the initial gap, creating a second gap on the opposite side of the original gap. The price then moves away from the filled gap, leaving it isolated like an island. But I got to shout out Jeremy Newman, who says, but no Long Island? Well, you could be long or short island here. Face it, if you have a bearish gap or a bullish gap here. I gotta shout you up there, Jeremy Newman. I'm a simple person. I see a pun. I like it. So shout out to you. But why are these island gaps significant? Well, they can indicate a significant shift in market sentiment. Significant is, I think, what I was trying to say. Significant? I don't know. But market sentiment or underlying conditions can be shown to have a bit of a shift if you're looking at these island gaps. And they often signal a potential trend reversal or continuation, which is, of course, going to depend on the price action that you're seeing alongside them. So here's some ways that you can identify a potential reversal or continuation on island gap. We're going to start with reversals. So is this island gap a reversion, man? Let's find out. If you have a breakdown below the lower gap for an upward gap, or a breakdown above the upper gap for a downward gap, that could often signal or suggest a potential reversal. Also, increased trading volume accompanying the breakout or breakdown can strengthen that reversal signal. Indicators like RSI or MACD can show divergence from price action. Showing divergence from price action can also identify or confirm a potential reversal. But how do you view them as continuations? Well, continued move in the direction of the initial gap can suggest a possible trend continuation, and increased trading volume accompanying the continuation move can strengthen the signal. But then also, again, to mention these indicators as well, if you got RSI or MACD aligning with the price trend, that could confirm a continuation. How do you trade these continuations, though? Well, if you've got an island gap followed by the continuation of the previous trend, here's some things to consider. You want to look at your entry. You might consider entering a long position after a pullback to the upper gap for an uptrend, or a short position after a pullback to the lower gap for a downtrend. What about your stop loss? You might want to place a stop loss order below the lower gap for long positions or above the upper gap for short positions. Profit targets are worth noting as well. You might want to use technical analysis tools like Fibonacci retracements. We don't tell lies, but we can tell fib.
I love that.
Or extensions to identify potential profit targets. But how do you trade a reversal with an island gap? Well, if it's followed by a reversal of the previous trend, here's some things to look for. For your entry, you might want to wait for a clear break below the lower gap for short sell, or a clear break above the upper gap for a long position. Stop losses as well to be aware of. You might want to place your stop loss order above the upper gap for short positions, or below the lower gap for a long position. What about profit targets? use technical analysis tools, again, like fibs or fib extensions to help identify potential profit targets for your new trend. So that here's some examples. You've got your island gap bullish reversal. You're in a downtrend. Then we have, this is the island. You might call it bull island or long island. Shout out to Jeremy Movement because you can go long here. Then you push up here and your stop loss would be kind of the higher point of this island gap, right? Then we push higher and maybe your buy stop order is going to be around here. So interesting look. What about island gap bearish reversal? So you've got your bullish gap. We push up here. Then we have our island, and it's going to be the exact flip, right? Your bearish gap is going to be where you start to look interesting, and that's where you might want to have your sell stop order. So there we go here. That is what we've got going on here on that island gaps. So if you like island gaps, definitely, or any kind of gaps, stay tuned with us for our second week of gaps. I always want to shout out Sharif for the lessons, but look at the SPY here. I was saying I like SPY depending on what we do here at 546. If we break blue, I have my eyes peeled on the SPY for a quick little short. But a lot of people, while I was yapping there about the lesson, were mentioning NVIDIA. So before I go back to Sharif, some people were tagging me, asking my thoughts on NVIDIA. Right. I think that NVIDIA 112.80, I mentioned this earlier, was a big area of chop and churn. Look at how we bounced off that earlier. The fact that we broke below, that is an interesting sign. If we come back and reject again, that could be an interesting area for a short. But be aware, we do also have a bottoming tail candle into that 112.50, which was a pretty interesting support area too. So I'd be watching that range between 112.80 or 112.50. If we break in either direction, that's something to keep an eye out for, in my opinion.
All right, just took 20 pennies quickly on Tesla there as it dipped into the 20 exponential. We're at 19.3. So lots of different possible trades here, really depending on what the future's doing. 19.304, we have Tesla at the 20 exponential. Meta's there as well. You also have Amazon on the 20 exponential. Then you have some stronger names like Google and Apple and Microsoft that haven't made their way down into the 20 exponential, that are still on the 10 and still making higher lows, not necessarily higher highs, but certainly higher lows. So we'll see, number one, can Tesla still hold that level, or is it going to give way? So just took that quick trade there. But look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, let's call it a spade a spade. Shout out to the one. He is the Kenob. This is distinctly different. You're getting a lot of weakness here on NVIDIA. You got that break of 112 3/4, which was kind of like the middle or the area support here during the midday at that 112 3/4. You got that decided break. We actually broke below the $0.50, 112.43. It's continuing to put lower lows and lower highs. We'll have to wait and see. Does this 112.50 hold up? This is an area, I want to say a consolidation area top or an area top. Maybe not necessarily consolidation, but you had 1, 2, 3 candles reject exactly off that level, and these 2 candles were south of it. So do we come back down and now use 112.50 as support? We definitely used it as resistance during that 11.25 till 11.45 time slot. Get it, Adara, on that level. So we'll see if this one can continue to drop, or does it find some support there? Tell us all about that print.
Yeah, we had some time on the SPY. I said I wanted that 546 area. I said we have that 546. I'm watching, I'm waiting, I'm scheming, plotting, scheming, trying to get money. Shout out to Drake's for this thing, if anyone knows that song there, which is weirdly one of my favorite throwback Drake songs. What did I do here with NVIDIA? I want to talk about it. Okay. So this is not NVIDIA, this is the SPY, Adara. I still want to talk about it, but not NVIDIA. I want to talk about the SPY. 546. I get short 546 at 1. I see us break below 546. That's why I waited. We break below, we come back, we chop a turn, I get short. I say, if we break above 546.20 decisively, you gotta go. That was an area we kept projecting. We get to 15s, then we come back down, we chop, we churn, we break below. I wanted to get out 2/3 of the position here at 88s because that was an area, as you could see, at a wick basis, we came to a support a couple times. So I said, I want none of that smoke if we bounce here. Well, I wanted some. I wanted 1/3 of the smoke, to be clear, because I didn't keep 1/3 of the position in. I took out that, like I said, about what, like, I want to say, what I got it was, so I got like 13 pennies here, but then I got the remainder out, 30 pennies in the money as we had that break into 70s. Please just punch with this SPY trade. Bears vs. Bulls asked on Friday, is SPY your favorite ticker yet? I don't want to play favorites. I do love Tesla as well, and I don't want Tesla to hear that I've strayed away from it.
I think you'll have a big fan in Big Spile.
Yeah, I showed it to Big Spile. I know Big Spile said he was waiting till that 542 area.
Fair.
But people trade things differently too, which I think is key as well, right? I totally agree with his levels on the 30-minute. As someone who like scalps and these kind of levels, I'm pretty happy with what I did here on this S to the P to the Y. Bit of a redemption trade from my earlier, very ill-fated and honestly ill-conceived attempt to scalp this 546. But that's what's great about the market. Sometimes they give you opportunities for redemption. Redemption's on your mind when you think about me. That's what I was saying, or the SPY was saying to me. I listened to a lot of Drake this morning, guys. I apologize.
I'm
My
surprised
Wi-Fi's
by
been
that.
down, so I just worked out to old Drake. So it was like the only music I had downloaded for some reason on my phone. So we just worked. Okay, yeah, I deserve that fail button, Fabian. I know. I just needed some decent workout music.
Why doesn't Fabian like him though?
Okay, I'm a Kendrick fan. We know I'm predominantly a Kendrick fan, but I just, I love, that's why Fabian.
So now
we
know
I
what
knew
Fabian
that's why.
liked.
So shout out to Fabian. But also thank you to Bears vs. Bulls calling me Spy Dara. Much appreciated. Also, Bears vs. Bulls, shout out to everything you do. Shout out to everything this community does. And if you want, as a part of this community, because you've liked and subscribed and all that good stuff, if you want to be part of our new segment brought to you by Real Trading, if you have a ticker you like, if you want to see Sean and Neil talk about that ticker, what levels they would have given, if you want to have Sharif tell you what the news was with that ticker, get in the chat. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Maybe it's TQs. Maybe it's the SPY. Am I looking at the charts on our screen? Yes, I am. Maybe it's Meta. Maybe it's Microsoft. Maybe it's Serve. Maybe you want to be like Sharif over the weekend playing tennis. You want to serve up that stock. Whatever you're interested in, get in that chat.
Why is the camera on
Exclamation
me?
point, join, space, $, whatever ticker you're involved in. Thank you very much, Big Smile. I appreciate that. Happy that I was able to execute this trade how I wanted to. And I appreciate Kyle as well saying, be aware of this VWAP here around that 545.30. I am watching VWAP. It's something I want to be cognizant of. This is not a trade I want to hop into because the level I felt better about was that 546. So let's see what we do though. It's something you want to watch out for as the SPY's VWAP and SPY's. Oh, we actually got a little bit of a bounce on the book here at VWAP. This could be an interesting look here for the S&P 500. But I see you are trading another future derivative. How is your trade going?
Well, I just got stopped out of the long, so I'm looking short. Now we're distinctly below the volume-weighted average price. I remember this sell-off on Friday was pretty aggressive to the downside. So let's see if we can participate in a bit of a mean reversion trade here. And hopefully the reversion, as the one he is, the Knob, likes to say, hopefully it won't be all that mean. We'll look toward our beacon, something in the 80s. I'm seeing all sorts of selling. There it is. Go down, Mr. Spy Man. Let's go. Well, the T-triple-Q Man, Mr. Q Man. There you go. All right. Let's see if we can take 20 pennies here super quick. Let's see if we can dip down. Well, not quite yet. I was looking for that 75 print. We are finding some support right now at the 50-point level, that 19,250. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower here. I'd like something around 75, but we are getting a lot of VWAP bounces or doji candles right now on some of the Mag 7 names, except NVIDIA. NVIDIA is about to break 112 where the players aren't dwelling today, so we'll see if that one can continue to go lower. Tesla just bounced off VWAP. We had some break or Meta bounced off VWAP as well. Amazon is also at VWAP, so critical levels for those bad boys, because if they give way at VWAP, we could see a gnarly market correction over here. And I'm looking at this on the NQ September contract on my side chart, seeing if it's going to give way at the 50-point level, 19,250. And it's giving way a little bit, not like a lot, but let's now put the order to wet the beak at 77s in case we get a flash crash down. Thank you for that. We'll see. Yeah, I love it too. I mean, how can I not? I've been saying wet the beak forever, right? So keeping an eye on that. But I do feel we may get some support here with the 50-point level. Yeah, I'm going to take this out. Now, if we tank back down, I'll get right back in. But there is big boy size right now at 250. At $66 on the T-triple-Qs. I don't know if anybody saw that. Yeah, look at that. That was a ridiculous amount of lottage there. That's 1,000. That's almost 2,000 lots. It's getting killed though, and it just got taken out. So good strength right now. You're seeing a bounce on all the Mag 7 names. I was about to say irregardless, but I don't need to go through that again. Yeah, I know, right?
You were right.
Yeah, I know, right? But immaterial of where you are right now, you're moving to the high side on the Mag 7. Even NVIDIA held that 112, even though it dipped below it super quick. What is that noise? That's drilling. I was like wondering what I couldn't understand.
Asking what's that noise to me is a question that
I know.
Sometimes I don't have answers.
That's all good.
I didn't even notice until you said it. Yeah.
It's quite loud. There's a lot of drilling. Okay, Nader, everybody's talking about SERV. We have been served up a halt over here, Adara. I'm sorry.
I liked it.
I know. Well, you know, they're not Adair quality puns, but, you know, we're warming up. Yeah, okay, so this one moved up, and SERV is at the high of day, 1858. It certainly didn't halt, though, at least not yet. Let me look at the 1 minute. Am I inaccurate? No, we haven't had a halt on serve yet, guys. It was about to halt. That was a false halt there at 1850, high 50s thereabouts, retracing right back down now. Keep your eye on that 18, that 1780 possibly for a hold up. SERV, oh baby, this one is going, but so is the future. The future holds up at around 19,250. It's still south of VWAP and still, you know, kind of zigging and zagging a little bit. So we'll see how this one ends up going, but serve's got my attention now that it's breaching the high of day again. NVIDIA involved in this name, taking a big or an investment in it, and as a result, it's been moving up. I don't remember, like the last couple of weeks or something. It's been, you know, on our watch list, on our scanner, in our purview for the last little while here, Dara, as we trade this bad boy. What is everybody else looking at? Sam Jack says NVIDIA dip buy. Not a bad call out there, Sam, because you definitely had some resist or support earlier at 112. You did get a breach here on the 5 minute chart, but you can tell like this was not the IB low because that was at around 1130. You had, it looked like to be some outsized selling. The majority of the prints though, that 112 area is a good look. So I hope you print on that, my man. Let me know how it goes. Amazon holding VWAP. Meta didn't quite make it down to VWAP, but held the VWAP area softy. Looks like it's holding above that 428 level. Didn't quite make it down to VWAP. Neither did Google. It's still above 169 and 3/4. And Apple didn't even breach the 20. It's still holding up there. Tesla as well holding up at the volume weighted average price. So if we get a gnarly move back up and claim 19.3 again, oh baby, hold on to your hats. We could have a big boy bear trap in the afternoon, but who knows? Who knows what we get? We'll have to wait and see, guys. 135 right now. What's everybody else looking at? Rob EV, NVIDIA profits on serve investment. Oh, yeah. NVIDIA profits up on serve investment. Yeah, it looks like it right now. I don't know how much they bought this per share, but clearly it's been up and to the right the last little bit, already up 40% today. So I haven't looked to see what the move has been. What are you looking at, Adair?
I'm staring at the SPY here. I'd love to say I've looked at other things, but that would not be the most truthful of statements. I've mostly looked at the SPY. The SPY, I want to shout out Big Spell Burdette saying, like, you know, keep an eye on this around VWAP. It was interesting around VWAP. We come here, we bounce kind of beautifully off that 545. I watched the book here at 545 because I wanted to see. You guys know I love those whole dollar levels. Oh, yeah. I was like, maybe we could take a bit of a scalp. There's no scalps to be taken. We bounce. We come back, initially rejecting 545.30 a little bit, but not with any kind of viciousness. Right now, we've seen a bit of a whiffle waffle between 545.30 and 545.50. I'm not shorting this here. It's not my type of trade. Like I said, I think this trade worked because I was really patient. I really waited for it. I don't want to hop into a SPY trade on levels that I'm only kind of meh about, but there's one stock that I've been watching levels for quite some time, and I've played to varying degrees of, I don't want to say success, but it's been varying degrees of meh. NVDA. So there were a couple of decent trades on this. There were a couple trades that I probably rushed into a little bit. My last NVIDIA trade, I was just scalping this around that 113.10, 113 area because that was giving you your little pop and drop. But as you can see with these wicks, NVIDIA has been super bamboozling around that 113. But I mentioned earlier, one level I liked on NVIDIA was 112.50. Guess where we're popping into right now? That's right, 112.50. Yeah, and like as Sharif said, the players have not really been dwelling at 112. We kind of wick into 112, we kind of hop back up. Any of these big players in this stock, that's not the level they're looking at. But this 112.50 has given you a bit of chop, a bit of churn, a bit of zig, and a bit of zag, as Sharif might say over here. So this has been an interesting one to look at. Thank you, Ricky Peters. I appreciate that. That SPY was really fun. And I think one example of, like I said, that's why I don't think time of day should matter for trading, but for me, I found if I'm going to take a trade in the afternoon around 1, I had to be one of the levels that I'm obsessed with. And I'm happy that I had that commitment to the SPY trade. But this NVIDIA, this one, we tried to get above this 112.50. Let's put it this way. This bounce to 112.50, not anemic. This attempt to bounce into 112.50, very anemic. That one needs a ferrous gluconate stat. We got to get that iron up. Give it a burger. I want to wait a couple more times, but if we keep rejecting 112.50, I might have a small position, but I want to make sure I'm feeling really confident, because that's how the best trades get made. That's how you the bread gets buttered or whatever, the sausage gets made. I don't know. whatever idiom you want to use, that's how that happens. That being said, NVIDIA now can't even get to 50s. We're getting to like 49s. So these lower highs in NVIDIA do make me tempted to get into a very small position. Sometimes, you just want to take, well, now we bought back into 50s. NVIDIA, make up your mind. I'm going to pull this chart away for now. We'll see what happens when I come back to it because I don't want to rush into a trade here. But Mahmoud has been mentioning IWM. I sort of had my IWM on IWM around 222s. That was the area I said I was kind of interested in. Right now, though, I have to be honest, much like what I was seeing with some of these stocks earlier, IWM not really giving me any huge levels, I gotta say, Mahmoud. Other than that 222.20s, which was a bit of chop, a bit of churn. We push higher, we come lower, we chop and churn again, couple tests, and then we break below. Until we get back to 222s, there's not gonna be a huge level for me in EWM. I have to be honest with you. We're near low of days right now. Another area I might like, you guys know I like these 90 EMA rejections. We rejected the 90 EMA a couple times in IWM, so if we get that again, that could be a nice look, but I don't want to force or try to find any levels where there aren't any for me personally. For me right now, there's nothing I'm obsessed with here on IWM until and unless we get back to 222. That reminds me, there's this Winnipeg pizza place, and their number was 2222. Great pizza at a great price. So very niche Winnipeg reference to anyone who knows Pizza Hotline. You could not, you always knew their phone number. Let me put it that way. But IWM on a bit of a bull flag on the daily chart. It gets a pushback. Look at this. We pop up here to 226s. We bounce here, 216s. Bless you. Bounce off 218s. Can we bounce off 220s? Can we get a bull flag here on IWM? Can we get a little bit of a rustle in the Russell 2000? Can we rustle our way back to the upside? I think if we can get above these topping tail candles, I don't think this is a bad look. As TI says, or I'm paraphrasing, grind don't stop, Russell won't quit. So let's see if IWM can go get it. Shout out to anyone who maybe got that reference. How did the TQs go? I love those candles. I love those triangles, as you would say.
So short covered there, then flipped long on the bottoming tail at 19,250. Was able to take a nice, I guess, 15 pennies at the top there. Not a whole lot to write about, but nice hold. Now, I'm watching out here. The reason I got out here and I didn't hold it is because we got into 19.3, and we know 19.3 has been a bit of area resistance zone. First, we claimed it, then we broke below it, so I didn't want to watch this mean revert back and lose my profit. So I said get out at 19.3, and if it takes 19.3 on a decisive basis, you can always get back in, maybe with a bit of a worse dollar cost or worse price, excuse me. But peace of mind to me there was important. Anyway, we're coming right back down now, so we'll see if we reject here. I'm telling you one thing. If we make a new low below 19,250, I will run back from that green screen and come back over here and punch short, because that will be a newer low and after a long area of consolidation, which we could call accumulation for the short. It hung out around 19.3. Who remembers that week on accumulation and distribution? Hey, Neil remembers. Ram Yam doesn't remember, and she doesn't care. Yes, Ram Yam,
She said that with like the most blase.
She was so happy and proud of herself that she doesn't remember and doesn't care. Shout out to the Ram. I was going to call her something different, but I didn't. SERV up. I know, guys, I've been looking at it, and I really want to get at 18, and I didn't, and now it's flying. There we go. We got at 18.14. That was where the order is. SRV is going. Beautiful hold of 18 here. Yeah, sure, it does dip below it, but look how quickly that wick got bought up. And if you had your stop below the consolidation area low at 1780, you didn't get stopped out, even though, excuse me, this one did dip into 88. So fantastic look for whoever's trading this. SERV continuing to move up over here. Big Spile Burdette has just messaged me something over here. I'm an island boy with, what's that movie called? Castaway?
Yes, with the volleyball, right? Wilson, the volleyball.
It's like, I'm an island boy. I can't believe you guys don't know. A lot of people in the chat don't have any idea what we're talking about. I thought these guys went viral like all over the internet.
I don't know their name, but I do know the song.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're
called.
Singing.
I don't know what they're called. The Island Boy twins, because they're identical, right? Anyway, so shout out to Big Spile. Always giving me a chuckle. Freddie, the friendly guy. Sharif. Yeah, got to get the short. Don't wait. Short that TQQQ. Short it. Or long the SQQQ. That's what he says. That is it. Train's about to leave the station, son. Oh, I didn't say son, but you know, I want to say it for a fact. I don't disagree with you, Freddie. I like that. I like that look because we're coming into that 19.3 and we're doing this rejection dance. Now, I was looking for a big mean reversion off that 19.3 drop, but we didn't get it. And we didn't get it because we definitely have support at 250. Look at these bottoming tail candles over here from earlier in the day. That's around 10.15, 10.05, even not even the IB low. Sorry, that 10.30 drop there, all around 19.250. So we hold up there, but most notably, we're rejecting 19.3 right now. So I like your look, Freddie. What I'd like to wait for, you know, that confirmation that we always talk about here on How to Trade Midday. I need that big boy confirmation. If we don't get it, you know, I'm not gonna just jump into this. But yeah, what your point is quite well taken. 19,300 rejection should spell trouble for some longs. Let's look quickly over here at the side chart, see what's afoot. There it is. Who is this Ram? His name is Fly Soldier. Am I allowed to show this? Okay, I didn't show it. I took it off. I took my ear, Ram. Come on. Yeah, no. I didn't know if I could show it or not, right? So I took it off the screen real quick. Yeah, she yelled up a storm there. Love it. Yeah, I take the blame, Ram. It wouldn't be on you. I clicked it. I put it on the screen. You're good. So that's what I'm looking at there. Adara. Spalding was not amused, says Glenn Smith. No, he was not. He didn't want to be Wilson. He did not choose. You know what kind of broke my heart, though, and this was a little weird on my part, when he gets on that raft, he's trying to get away from the island, right?
Yeah.
So he takes Wilson, he mounts Wilson on this, like, post.
Yeah.
And then the big storm comes, or he falls asleep or something, and Wilson floats off, and then Wilson's gone, and he starts, like, freaking out. Wilson's gone.
That was his friend.
I got it, but it was a volleyball. But, like, I actually sympathized with that.
Yeah.
It's insane. The thing didn't talk back. You know what I mean? It just looked at him funny while he was talking. And yet, I felt bad. It was like the human in me, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's like, yeah, I mean, honestly, he was probably better with his raft to Wilson than Rose was to Jack on Titanic. So
straight up.
Literally, I'm sorry. I am
right there. You got some grievances you want to let go of?
I am a Jack could have lived truther, is all I'll say. That's all I'll say to that. But also, Swagger01, do not worry. I actually had CMG up already. So let's talk about Chipotle, or as my father called it this weekend, Chipotle. So they don't have it in Winnipeg, I guess, so I had to explain what it was to him. But yeah, so nice bounce here on VWAP a couple times here for CMG. This is day 3 for earnings. They reported Wednesday after the close, Thursday and Friday trading post earnings. And this one was pretty interesting. We had a nice little move up here for CMG right after the earnings report. So I'm going to pull my chart back up. And then their guidance for their margin guidance was not as good as what people were expecting, and so then it had a little bit of a move to the downside from that. You could certainly see that. Look at this Wednesday chart. We wick up here into 60s on the daily. Look at that. Okay, sorry, I'm going to have to go lower because the post split. But yeah, we have this wick up into 60s. Really great lick. Then we come. We're not really able to get above that. We've kind of continued to drift lower. Although this is not a bad look right now in the day. I think if we can close above this wick we had here, like around 5150s, that would be a nice sign that we've actually truly formed some support at 50s, because Chipotle has not been getting a lot of guacamole since that split. It's been crumbling to the downside. This bowl has not been refilled. So I think it might be some nice protein there for Chipotle. If we can get up to that 51.50 on the daily, then that 54 might be nice as well. We had some chop and turn around there. But if I am to get back to the 5-minute chart, yeah, I mean, I have to say this just looks like continued earnings strength. This one has been on my side chart, but not one that I've traded because the volume has not been as intense. To be clear, we have had almost 10 million shares traded on the day, about 9.6 million shares, but the volume's petered out a little bit. I mean, right now, I would say, yeah, if you continue seeing higher highs, higher lows, I think Chipotle, or Chipotle, whatever you'd like to call it, could be an interesting one here to keep an eye on. So CMG, you could be munching on some profits there if we continue to see that higher highs, higher lows. That being said, a bit of a topping tail into 51.2s. Also, you know, you have to be subscribed in order to join the chat, so definitely please hit that subscribe button. Exclamation point, join space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. If you want to get involved in our new audience segment brought to you by Real Trading, if you want to hear some real trades made by Sean and Neil, the confidence and the Neilage, if you want to be part of that, get involved in that chat, exclamation point, join space, $, whatever ticker you're involved in. I also want to shout out Sharif for giving us the news for that segment.
I appreciate you, Adara, and like how often, I think you can vouch for this too. We always have people putting different tickers in the chat that we're not able to get to because we're trading something else or something else is getting our attention. Sometimes you guys want to know how Neil and Sean are trading things, not Adair and I, the big kahunas, right? So if that's your case, if that's what you want, if you want to have your ticker talked about, because it hasn't been talked about today, then get into the chat right now. Exclamation point. And use that, type in that word join and the $ in the ticker of your choice. And well, Katina Man's back from the walk and talk. He's on the phone. He picked up passports. He's headed to London, baby, and he's ready to look at the names as selected by you. I'm going to slow things down for a little bit here now. You guys know how much I love Arsenal. And Arsenal now has completed the signing of Riccardo Calafiori. They said they could never sign an Italian in his prime. They are wrong. We did sign the Italian in his prime, Katina Man. This guy is going to defend up a storm for Arsenal on the back line. This guy absolutely flourished during the Euros. He's supposed to be a center back. He can play on the left and he attacks, which is really important for Arsenal styles. So the first of hopefully many signings this year for the Gunners. And yeah, there's apparently this other Spaniard that they have their eye on, Mikel Merino, who played up a storm as well. Now a Euro champion, obviously having won that with Spain. Apparently, he's next on the docket, and they're looking at getting his signature from Real Sociedad. So the Bologna deal is done. We have a good relationship now with Bologna, with having signed Calafiori, and Tomiyasu as well came from there. So pleased, very, very pleased. Shout out to Big Adam DeLuce there as well, who is booked, by the way, Katina Man. He's coming in October, so hopefully we'll be able to take out Adam and jam with him around these parts. I don't know if it's Adam's first time to Toronto, but we're very excited to have him here, and we're going to have him in the studio, obviously, show him things around. And yeah, that's going to be the look there. So nice. Good look. VWAP Trader, I see you want to talk about UNH, baby, United Health, one of the biggest Dow components out there. So yeah, we're gonna look at that. In fact, I'll vote with it. I'll vote as well your way, my man.
Sure, so you're going to give United Health. He wants to be reunited with you in the chat.
There it is. All good. It's all good. No, and that's what I meant by bullying your friends to vote with you that way, because you only get one vote. But if you bully others around you, well, you may get a couple of more. So I'm just going to help you out there. We're going to join UNH. Blaze Wavy says Real Madrid with several love sign eye things. Yeah, obviously Los Blancos. It's good. Neil's chirping me in the chat, always about the bullying. I'm the one that gets bullied around here, not the other way around. That's the way it is, so shut up. Blue Arrow's an Arsenal fan. I like you now even more, Blue Arrow, even though you're already my favorite color, obviously blue being said favorite color. Are you looking at anything of importance here, Dara?
Yeah,
as we wind
I would
down?
Love to talk about this Tesla short trade. I took Tesla 232 long into 232.20, then I took it short 232.20 into 232. I've been waxing poetic all darn day about Tesla and those 20-cent levels. And in case anyone missed my weird spiel, what I've noticed, like I said, Tesla, I've been looking way more at the book lately, and it has, I would say, exponentially improved the quality of the Tesla trades. For now, anyway, this is my second day of doing it. But what I want to say that I've noticed is Tesla, at least today and a little bit on Friday as well, when we get to a new whole dollar level, we'll get to 232, we'll get to 230, like whatever, let's say example 232, we get to 232, then we get to 232.20. We try above 232.20, we can't get above it, we come back down. So I tried, knowing that that pattern could repeat itself based on what I saw in the book. I tried that, it worked in both directions. Again, these patterns aren't always going to repeat ad infinitum, but just be aware that sometimes these patterns do exist. So that's my little spiel with regards to Tesla's bizarre. We get to a whole dollar level, get to 20 cent above. This is the same thing I did at this previous what was this? Yeah, also 232. So taking it short 232 after that failed 232.20 break. So again, weird pattern, but if you notice something, whatever works for you, maybe you might want to try it. That's just my personal strategy for trading TSLA today. And not for every whole dollar break, but for a good amount of them. And for the most part, it has worked. I also want to talk about AMD because Swagger01 really wants to talk about AMD. Shout out to you. I know you wanted to look at NVIDIA as well. So Swagger01 wants to see what the swagger is with these chip names. And I'm sure these chip names are certainly singing no one in the corner has swagger like us, to shout out both Paper Planes and Swagger Like Us, which honestly was a who's who of 2008 rap. Shout out to weirdly one of my favorite throwback tracks. So good look on that. AMD though, I mentioned earlier that one for, okay, now AMD gets a pushback. I didn't give it one earlier, but it gets one now. Why? 141. We bounce at 141. Bounce again, lower high, 141. Quadunk. We come back to VWAP, chop a little bit lower. Look where we bounce in confluence with 9 EMA. That's right, 141. Then we pop our little head above VWAP. That 142 level, though, that we had a little bit of resistance earlier, it becomes resistance here. We rejected it on a wick basis. We're not even close here. We rejected it on a wick basis. It cannot hang with 142. Sorry, guys, this market's getting me really excited. Then we push lower. Get into this 140.60s. Look where we're currently trying to reject, below the 9 EMA. That's right, 141. AMD, for whatever reason, 141 is a level, but AMD reports earnings tomorrow. So let's see, Lisa soon, we're gonna have those numbers. So let's find out, but before we get Lisa and her Lisa suit, let's see what we've got here going on the daily chart on AMD. Looks like I'm missing some data on my AMD daily chart. But yeah, not seeing anything major on this 141. One thing I do find interesting, though, is look at this push down we had here at one point at 144. 144, we kind of wick above, can't get there. And now today, we had a pretty massive wick here into 144. So I think 144, for whatever reason, could be a level to keep an eye on here. But at least on the intraday basis, 141, we're rejecting it again here on my pal AMD. Shout out to you, Swagger01. No one in the corner has Swagger like us, said Lisa Su, NVIDIA, and ARM.
I think that level that you were shorting up a storm on Tesla came right back in.
Yeah.
And I tried to get short there, and I chased it, and I'm like, no, this isn't the right move. Maybe I should have, because it's giving you 60 pennies and more right there as that range continues to rinse and repeat. For whatever reason, there's a seller in and around that 232.5 level on TSLA, and that's been a local top, taking us back to about 14 minutes or so. Started around 20-1. We've got about 6 minutes left on the show. I want to leave you with a couple of ideas because serve is really pumping here, but there's a couple of things that are happening. Number one, we're below 19.3 on the future, and we came back in there and we rejected it. Keep your eye out for a decided break below 19,250. I think if we do that, then we mean revert quite aggressively. Concurrently, keep your eye out on Meta at VWAP, Amazon at VWAP. We weren't that far away from VWAP on Tesla, a little bit away from it right now, but now you have the likes of Apple curling down, breaching the 10 and the 20, looking to really give way at 218 there. We'll have to see if it can hold up at 218. That's where VWAP and the closing print are. But this was a local area rejection. You can see it on Apple. That was the IB high. We couldn't really break through that area initially, so a bit of a tougher look right now. I don't know. I think we mean revert likely here on Apple. And if the last few days on AAPL and the Mag 7 has been any indication, is that we're going to zig and zag, and where we don't really have a decided move one way or another right now. We haven't broken down below the Friday lows. We haven't broken above the Friday highs. We are still very much ensconced by Friday's price action. You can kind of just see that. This is Friday's price action. This is right now. So a bit of a tougher trade right now, or not tougher trade, but definitely a trade of indecision right now on Apple and some of these other Mag 7 names. The other one I want to leave you with, SERV, because this was going. Let's take off the side chart and have a look at the actual trading screen itself. This is an interesting area right here, but we're putting in a head and shoulders on the 1 minute. Be careful. Again, all these chart patterns are fractal. However, their failure rate goes up. The lower down the time frame you go, down. So look for 1780. 1780 was an area resistance level. Then we took it. And so we use it as support now. 1780, 1775. But this looks like a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, albeit on the one. If it does, I don't know. Let's see if this one huadunks, but it looks like it might be setting up for a huadunk right now. Likely a pay for shorts type of situation. Let's check if that is the case. We'll put 1925. Yes, it is a pay for shorts type of situation. Shout out to Real Trading, the best real trading or the best prop firm trading on the planet, Adara. And I'm willing to bet you over here that the shorts on Serve are going to be like very, very, very cheap and almost inconsequential. That's how good Real Trading is. And they always give you the best tools at your disposal. And if you don't But yeah, best tools. And if you want some more tools, guys, make sure to check out Trade Ideas with that 20% off. And with that, I'm going to give it to Darren and weasel my way on over to the green screen.
Good luck with the weaseling. Thank you so much to Sharif for always happy to be trading next to you here. And shout out as well for his segment. Thank you for putting together the lessons. Thank you to Freddie the Friendly Guy for your kind words here in the chat. We're always so happy to be here every single day. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls for everything you do. Calvin Francis saying Amazon short. And I got to say, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down here. We had that gorgeous bear flag here in Amazon. I said I like that 184 bounce around the 9 EMA. We try to have this breakout here. Look at this wick into 184.60, but oh boy, we're not able to hold that breakout on Amazon. We actually break down below the 184. Swear I should have been looking to short, but Amazon was one that I said I hadn't been looking at as long for levels. We break below here. We come to bounce here. Beautifully, might I add. We bounce gorgeously off VWAP around, where is this, 183.60s? Then we come wick into 184, so support to resistance flip-flop, not once, but twice. Then we come back to this area to bounce at VWAP. Now we make another topping tail candle. And where do we bounce into? That's right, our last candles, our last doji candles here with that resistance at 183.80. I love this look on Amazon. I think on the 5 minutes, really clear. I think if we break below VWAP and retest, that could be a great short. Shout out to you, Calvin Francis. Great look. Chill Vibe says, we're going to the big boys now. Indeed you are. In just 1 minute, you will have Neil spreading his Neilage. You'll have Sean and his confidence. And you'll be able to have those verdicts on these trades you want to take. Hope you guys had fun here with our show. I think there were a lot of fun opportunities. I think today was certainly one where I feel like I learned a lot with regards to just sticking to names that you like and you have a good read on. Like I said, I've been looking at my P&L during the show, but I just took a look now that I'm done trading for the day. Please a bunch to say 3 green names, 1 red name, and shocker, the red name was Microsoft, which I had not looked at long enough before I got involved. So I think, again, make sure you have a plan and you stick to that plan. Whether that plan is a sticky note, whether that plan is levels you've charted, whatever it is, stick to it. And definitely stay tuned to hear every single day. I'm so happy to have everyone here with us. I hope you guys had a fun trading day. We've got Amazon earnings on the docket, Microsoft earnings on the docket, Apple or Big Mama, shout out to Ryan Faluna, and we've also got Meta this week. But right now, in just a few seconds, we're going to have our pal Sharif there on the green screen. Whether you were red or green on the day, hope you guys had some fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Sharif's at the green screen.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean locked and loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you.